X-Men: Apocalypse is a 2016 American superhero film directed and produced by Bryan Singer from a screenplay by Simon Kinberg, based on a story by Singer, Kinberg, Michael Dougherty, and Dan Harris. The film is based on the fictional X-Men characters that appear in Marvel Comics. It is the sixth mainline installment in the X-Men film series and the ninth installment overall. It is the sequel to X-Men: Days of Future Past, 2014, and stars James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Oscar Isaac, Nicholas Hoult, Rose Byrne, Tye Sheridan, Sophie Turner, Olivia Munn, and Lucas Till. In the film, the ancient mutant Fassbender/Apocalypse is inadvertently revived in 1983 and plans to recreate the world in his own image, leading the X-Men to try to stop him and defeat his team of mutants. The film was announced by Singer in December 2013, with Kinberg, Dougherty, and Harris attached to develop the story. Casting began in October 2014, while principal photography commenced in April 2015 in Montreal and ended in August of the same year. X-Men: Apocalypse premiered in London on May 9, 2016, and was released in the United States on May 27, 2016, in RealD 3D, IMAX 3D, 4DX and Dolby Cinema formats by 20th Century Fox. The film received mixed reviews from critics. A sequel, titled Dark Phoenix, was released on June 7, 2019. Plot: in 3600 BC, the aged but powerful mutant Fassbender rules ancient Egypt. Following a ceremony in which his consciousness is transferred into another man's body in order to gain his healing factor, he and his 4 followers, the Horsemen of Apocalypse, are betrayed by conspirators. In the process, his followers are killed and he is entombed alive. In 1983, Scott Summers manifests his mutant powers to shoot concussive kinetic energy blasts from his eyes, so his older brother Alex takes him to Professor Charles Xavier's Educational Institute, hoping that Xavier and Hank McCoy will teach him to control his mutation. Scott meets and befriends Jean Grey upon arriving. In Egypt, Fassbender is awakened by Moira MacTaggert while following a group of worshippers. He meets a mutant who can control weather, Ororo Monroe, and learns about humanity. Determined that humanity has lost its way, he plans to remake the world. Ororo becomes his follower after he enhances her power. Meanwhile, in communist Poland, Eric Lane Scher lives happily with his wife Magda and daughter Nina. During the worldwide disturbances caused by Fassbender's reawakening, Lane Scher uses his powers to save a co-worker during an earthquake, alerting the Militgia Obi-Wadowska. They hold his daughter hostage in the forest to lure him into turning himself in. As tensions rise, Nina heartbrokenly demonstrates her animal communication mutant powers, and the police accidentally kill her and her mother in the ensuing confusion. In despair, Lane Scher kills the police. In East Berlin, shape-shifting mutant Raven, revered as a mutant hero following the attack on Washington, D.C., rescues Kurt Wagner from a cage fight and requests black marketeer Caliban to transport Kurt to America. He reveals Lane Scher's situation to her, leading Raven to take Kurt and request Xavier to find and rescue Lane Scher. Fassbender recruits Caliban's assistant Psylocke and another cage fighter Angel, and enhances both of their powers. Fassbender finds Lane Scher and takes him back to Auschwitz, showing him the true extent of his powers. Lane Scher destroys the camp and joins Fassbender. When Xavier contacts Lane Scher, Fassbender remotely accesses Cerebro and forces Xavier to make countries launch their nuclear arsenals into space to prevent interference. He and his 4 horsemen arrive at the mansion and kidnap Xavier. Alex attempts to stop them but causes an explosion that destroys the mansion. Peter Maximoff, having learned he is Lane Scher's biological son, arrives and uses his super speed to evacuate everyone except Alex, who is considered missing in action in the explosion before his arrival. Colonel William Stryker's forces, believing Xavier to be responsible, capture McCoy, Raven, Peter, and MacTaggert, and take them for interrogation. Scott, Jean, and Kurt secretly follow them and liberate their comrades using Stryker's experiment Weapon X, whose memories Jean partially restores. Lane Scher uses his powers to alter the Earth's magnetic field, causing destruction across the planet. Fassbender plans to transfer his consciousness into Xavier's body to gain his psychic powers. Xavier sends a telepathic distress call to Jean and the others, who travel to Cairo to battle Fassbender and his 4 horsemen. They rescue Xavier and flee in a plane. When Angel and Psylocke attack the plane, Kurt teleports his friends away. Psylocke manages to jump safely and escape, but Angel is killed in the plane crash. Lane Scher and Ororo turn on Fassbender and keep him occupied physically with Scott's help while Xavier fights him telepathically in the astral plane. Xavier begs Jean to unleash the full strength of her abilities, and she incinerates Fassbender. Xavier restores MacTaggert's memory and they reconcile. Lane Scher and Jean help reconstruct the school, but Lane Scher turns down Xavier's offer to stay and help teach. Peter decides not to tell Lane Scher yet about their relationship. Using confiscated Sentinels 5, McCoy and Raven train the new X-Men recruits, Scott, Jean, Ororo, Kurt, and Peter. In a post-credits scene, vials of Weapon X's blood are placed in a briefcase belonging to the Essex Corporation. Cast: The cast of X-Men, Apocalypse at the 2015 San Diego Comic-Con. From top to bottom, McAvoy, Fassbender, Lawrence, Isaac, Hoult, Munn, Peters, Smith-McPhee, Turner, Sheridan, Shipp, Condor, Till, and Hardy. James McAvoy as Professor Charles Xavier. A pacifistic mutant and the world's most powerful telepath, who is the founder of Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters and leads the team of mutants known as the X-Men, in order to protect humankind and battle against the deadly enemy within. During the latter part of the film's production, McAvoy shaved his head for the role. 6. Michael Fassbender as Eric Laneshare / Magneto. A mutant Auschwitz survivor with the ability to control magnetic fields and manipulate metal, who was once Xavier's closest ally and best friend, until his belief that mankind and mutant kind would never coexist led to their separation. He is globally infamous for attempting to assassinate U.S. President Richard Nixon on live broadcast 10 years prior. Bill Milner appears in archival footage as a young Eric. Jennifer Lawrence as Raven / Mystique. A mutant with shape-shifting abilities, globally renowned for saving Nixon's life 10 years prior. She was once Xavier's closest ally and his adoptive sister. Lawrence said, she hears about what happened to Eric and she wants to seek him out and help him. 7. Nicholas Hoult as Hank McCoy / Beast. A mutant with leonine attributes, prehensile feet, and superhuman physical abilities. Hank acts as a teacher in Xavier's school and he builds inventions for troubled students. He also built the X-Jet. 8. Oscar Isaac as Fassbender / Apocalypse. Born in ancient times, and presumably the world's first mutant, he has a variety of destructive superhuman abilities, including telekinesis, telepathy, technopathy, teleportation, force field generation, and the ability to augment other mutants' abilities, as a result of being able to amass powers when transferring his consciousness from one body to another. Isaac described Nur as the creative / destructive force of the Earth. He added, when things start to go awry, or when things seem like they're not moving towards evolution, Fassbender destroys those civilizations. 7. Isaac had to go through extensive makeup and prosthetics applications, and wore high-heeled boots to appear taller in a 40-pound suit. The full costume was uncomfortable, particularly in the humid environment of the outdoor scenes, which forced Isaac to go to a cooling tent between takes. Nur's previous old form, seen at the beginning of the film, was played by Bert J. Garabedian, a 70-year-old Canadian real estate agent, an avid silver screen fan in his first credited film role. 9. Rose Byrne as Moira MacTaggart. A CIA operative who first met and developed feelings for Xavier in X-Men, First Class, 2011, where he wiped portions of her memories of him and the X-Men at the end. Simon Kinberg said they are essentially strangers when they meet in this film. 10. Evan Peters as Peter Maximoff / Quicksilver. A mutant who can move, think, and perceive at hypersonic speeds, and the son of Magneto. 11. Josh Hellman as Colonel William Stryker. A military officer who hates mutants and has, in the 10 years since Days of Future Past, been developing his own plans for resolving the mutant problem. 8. Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. A mutant who is scared of her telepathic and telekinetic power, and one of Charles Xavier's most prized students. 12. Turner states that she was cast in the film because of the dark side of her character Sansa Stark in Game of Thrones, 2011 to 2019. She compared Jean to Sansa and described being an outcast in the human world who struggles with her power and gift, the same way Sansa, who wanted to live a normal life, felt. 13. Turner learned archery in preparation for the role. 14. Tye Sheridan as Scott Summers / Cyclops. A mutant who fires destructive optic beams and wears a ruby visor or sunglasses to stabilize and contain them, and who is the younger brother of Havoc. Sheridan described Cyclops as angry and a bit lost. He added, he's now learning about being a mutant and trying to handle his powers. 15. Lucas Till as Alex Summers / Havoc. A mutant who has the ability to absorb energy and release it with destructive force from his body, and the older brother of Cyclops. Cody Smith-McPhee as Kurt Wagner / Nightcrawler 16. A German 12 teleporting mutant and one of Charles Xavier's new students. Singer said Nightcrawler is a source of comic relief. 17. Ben Hardy as Angel. A mutant with bird-like feathered wings who gains metallic wings that can shoot razor-sharp feather projectiles, similar to his Archangel counterpart in the comics. 18. Hardy practiced indoor skydiving in preparation for his role. 19. Alexandra Shipp as Aurora Monroe / Storm. A young mutant orphan who can control weather. Storm is discovered by Apocalypse in Cairo. Shipp partially shaved her head to sport a mohawk for the role. 2021. Lana Condor as Jubilee. A mutant student at Charles's school who has the ability to create kinetic energy plasmoids. 12/22. Discussing her first day on X-Men, Apocalypse, Condor stated, I was very new and it was my first role. I'd never been on a set before or in front of a camera, so I didn't know what to expect. The first day we shot scenes in an 80s themed mall with hundreds of extras in 80s gear, plus crew and cameras. It was surreal. It's a lot easier when you have the costume, as that helps bring everything to life. She has her iconic yellow jacket, which is a staple. It's very bold and confident, like her. A lot of her costumes are super 80s. I also listened to music from the 80s and that helped. 23. Olivia Munn is Psylocke. A mutant with Sonic abilities. Her abilities include projecting purple psychic energy, usually into the form of an energy blade that can burn through metal. Munn described Psylocke as very lethal, very powerful, and very strong. 24. She practiced sword fighting in preparation for the role. 25. Additionally, Carolina Barchak and T.J. McGibbon play Eric's wife Magda and mutant daughter Nina, respectively. Tomas Lamarquise portrays Caliban 26, a mutant with the ability to sense and track other mutants, and wrestler giant Gustav Claude Wimet plays the Blob, Angel's opponent in an underground fight club. 27-28 Monique Ganderton, Warren Squirrer, Rochelle Okoye, and Fraser Aitchison play Apocalypse's prior lieutenants, Death, Pestilence, Famine, and War respectively. Zero Leverman reprised her role as Quicksilver's mother, Ms. Maximoff. 29. Hugh Jackman makes an uncredited appearance as Logan/Wolverine, in his Weapon X form. In that same scene, director Bryan Singer cameos as a guard who is killed by Wolverine as he attempts to escape the complex. 30 X-Men CO creator Stan Lee and his wife Joan B. Lee make a cameo appearance together, as bystanders witnessing the launch of nuclear missiles worldwide. This was Joan's last film before her death the following year. 31 L.J. Ivanek cameos as a Pentagon scientist. 32 Journalist Jessica Savage and actors Leslie Parrish and Michael Forrest, appearing in footage with dialogue from the 1967 Star Trek episode Who Mourns for Adonais, also appear in cameos. 33. Production. Development. X-Men Apocalypse was announced by Bryan Singer in December 2013 via Twitter, before X-Men Days of Future Past, 2014, was released to theaters. 34 In the same month, Simon Kinberg, Dan Harris, and Michael Dougherty were revealed by Singer to be attached to work on the film's story. 35 According to Singer, the film would focus on the origin of the mutants and feature the younger versions of Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Storm. 36-37 Singer also said that he was considering Gambit and a younger version of Nightcrawler to appear. 38 According to Kinberg, it would take place in 1983, and completes a trilogy that began with X-Men, First Class, 2011. 39-40 In September 2014, 20th Century Fox officially announced that Singer would direct the film. 41 Singer has called the film kind of a conclusion of 6 X-Men films, yet a potential rebirth of younger, newer characters and the true birth of the X-Men. 42. Writing. It will address historical mutant sci, meaning the deep past, mutant origins, and things like that. It's something that's always intrigued me when we think about our gods and our history and miracles and powers. Bryan Singer on what will be seen in X-Men Apocalypse. 36. Singer said that Apocalypse is the main focus of the film. Kinberg said that the younger versions of Scott Summers, Storm, and Jean Grey appearing in the film are as much a part of the film as the main cast. He described Summers as not yet the squeaky clean leader, Storm as a troubled character who is going down the wrong path in life, and Grey as complex, interesting, and not fully mature. 43 Kinberg also said that the film delivers on the dramatic story and emotion of the last 2 films and that it acts like the culmination of the main characters portrayed by Lawrence, McAvoy, Fassbender, and Hoult. 44 Kinberg said First Class, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse formed a trilogy about Mystique, explaining. She starts in First Class entirely on Charles's side, ends up following Eric, and we then find her in Days of Future Past and she's on her own because Eric is gone. She's on her own side in that movie but is drawn toward Charles by the end of the film and shoots Eric. Then in Apocalypse she comes back to Charles. There's a full circle narrative over the span of this little trilogy that is about Mystique from beginning with Charles in the mansion and ending with Charles in the mansion, but not as the same timid little girl we met in First Class. 45. Kinberg was paid $8 million for writing the script, the same amount he received for X-Men, Days of Future Past. 46. The plot was partially inspired by the 1988 X-Men story arc The Fall of the Mutants. 47. Casting. In October 2014, casting for X-Men Apocalypse began. 48. In November, Singer confirmed that Oscar Isaac would portray Apocalypse. 49. In January 2015, Singer announced that Alexandra Shipp, Sophie Turner, and Tye Sheridan would portray young Storm, Jean and Cyclops, respectively. 50. Grace Fulton, who would go to play Mary Bromfield in the DC Extended Universe Shazam films, originally auditioned to play Jean Grey, but lost out to Turner. Ashley Benson was also considered for Jean Grey. 51-52 The same month, Kinberg confirmed that Rose Byrne would reprise her First Class role as Moira MacTaggart in the film. 10 In February, Cody Smith-McPhee was cast as Nightcrawler and Ben Hardy was cast in an unspecified role. 16:53 In March, Singer announced that Lana Condor was cast as Jubilation Lee. 54 In April, Singer confirmed that Hardy would portray Angel, Olivia Munn would portray Psylocke, and Lucas Till would return as Havoc. 1855-56 In May, Singer announced that the mutant Caliban would appear in the film. 57-58 In July, Hoult revealed on Conan that Josh Hellman would return as William Stryker. 59 In April 2016, Hugh Jackman confirmed that he would make a cameo appearance as Logan/Wolverine. 60. Filming. Principal photography commenced on April 27, 2015, in Montreal, Canada. 61 In late August, the first unit production for the film wrapped. 62 Additional filming took place in January 2016. 63. Australia-based Rising Sun Pictures provided, as it did for X-Men, Days of Future Past, the effects for Quicksilver's time-stopping, quick motion effects in the mansion rescue scene, and also other effects, including when Cyclops splits Professor X's favorite tree in half. 64 Aerial footage of snow-capped mountains as Stryker traveled in his helicopter to the secret base was provided by Smart Drones of St. Albert, Alberta, Canada. 65 Singer had at one point left the production for 10 days, forcing screenwriter Simon Kinberg to fill in as director. 66-67 Singer claimed he had a thyroid issue and had to be treated in LA. 68-69. Music. Main article, X-Men, Apocalypse, soundtrack. On March 2, 2015, it was announced that John Ottman, who composed the scores for X2, 2003, and X-Men, Days of Future Past, would return to write and compose the score for Apocalypse. On May 20, 2016, the official soundtrack was released as a digital download. In addition to Ottman's score, the film features a remix of the second movement of Ludwig van Beethoven's Seventh Symphony entitled Beethoven Havoc and two songs contemporary to the film's 1983 setting, Sweet Dreams, Are Made of This, by Eurythmics and The Four Horsemen by Metallica. 70. Visual effects. The visual effects are provided by Moving Picture Company and Hydraulics and supervised by Anders Langlands and Colin Strauss with help from Digital Domain, Cinesight, and Rising Sun Pictures. 71. Marketing. In July 2015, Singer, Lee, Jackman, and cast members McAvoy, Fassbender, Lawrence, Isaac, Hoult, Munn, Peters, Smith-McPhee, Turner, Sheridan, Shipp, Condor, Till, and Hardy gave a presentation at the 2015 San Diego Comic-Con, together with the release of the film's first teaser poster, featuring Fassbender and a wreckage of the X-Mansion. 72 Footage from the film was screened. 73. In October 2015, Mars Chocolate partnered with 20th Century Fox for the marketing of the film, using M&M chocolates in their promotional materials. The deal included retail displays and special packaging markings, TV and cinema commercials, and social media posts featuring M&M's characters mixed with elements of the X-Men. The first image of M&M candies wearing Storm and Magneto costumes was released on the day of the announcement. 74. In December 2015, Kia Motors collaborated with 20th Century Fox to create a custom Kia Sportage to promote the film. Designed after Mystique, the car was revealed at the 2016 Australian Open. It is Kia's second X-Car project after the Kia Sorento customized for the home media release of Days of Future Past and the 2015 Australian Open. 75, 76, 77, 78 A trailer released in the same month received criticism from Rajan Zed, a United States-based Hindu cleric, who stated that the part where Apocalypse claims himself to have been called Krishna was an offense to the Hindu religion, and demanded that Singer remove all references to Krishna from the trailer, and the film itself. 79 The references to Krishna were removed from the film's final cut. 80 On January 4, 2016, Kia Motors released the first promo video of the car, featuring Spanish tennis player Rafael Nadal. 81. Concerning the character Apocalypse, the director Bryan Singer has said, "The way I describe him the most, the best is he to me is the God of the Old Testament and all that comes with that. If there isn't the order and the worship, then I'll open up the earth and swallow you whole, and that was the God of the Old Testament. I started from there, and when Oscar and I met we began discussing, since he isn't really God, he's the first mutant perhaps, but he's not God necessarily, he's imbued with certain unique powers. Some of them may or may not be from this earth, we don't know." 82-83. In April 2016, Coldwell Banker partnered with 20th Century Fox to list the X-Mansion for $75 million. 84 The fictional listing included a video tour of the mansion and stories of the home from the perspective of characters such as Charles Xavier and Scott Summers. The fake property was listed by agent Kala V. Ramedran, an anagram for Raven Darkholme. 85-86 That same month, Fox released a faux TV show called In the Footsteps of, narrated by George Takei, which is inspired by the classic TV series In Search of, that focuses on Ensabonner's origins. 87-88-89 In May 2016, Fox released a faux TV commercial for the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters with Lana Condor as Jubilee. They also released a video-voiced mail message a week later in a faux TV show called Fables of the Flush and Fabulous with Robin Leach, which is inspired by Leach's show Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. 90, 91, 92, 93. Billboard controversy. Billboards in Los Angeles and New York City promoting the film garnered controversy for showing an image of Apocalypse choking Mystique, with critics saying the ad advocates violence against women. Among those opposed to the material was actress Rose McGowan, who told The Hollywood Reporter, "There is a major problem when the men and women at 20th Century Fox think casual violence against women is the way to market a film. There is no context in the ad, just a woman getting strangled. The fact that no one flagged this is offensive and frankly, stupid." 94. In apologizing for the billboard, Fox said it intended to remove the image from circulation. 95. Release. X-Men: Apocalypse had its world premiere in London on May 9, 2016. The film was released in 20,796 screens across 76 international markets on May 18, 2016. 96-97, 1 week before its North American debut. Apocalypse was issued triple 3D, 4DX, and 2D formats, and in IMAX 3D in select international markets, using the DMR process. 98-99. It opened in Korea on May 25 and in China on June 3. It was released in Japan on August 11. 96. Home media. The film was released by 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment on digital download on September 9, 2016, and on DVD, Blu-ray, 3D Blu-ray, and Ultra HD Blu-ray on October 4, 2016. 100. The film topped the national home video sales charts for the week ending on October 9, 2016. 101. X-Men: Apocalypse was released on the Walt Disney Company's streaming service Disney and on July 17, 2020. Reception. Box office. X-Men: Apocalypse grossed $155.4 million in the US and Canada and $388.5 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $543.9 million against a budget of $178 million. 4. The film became the third highest grossing film in the X-Men series, behind Deadpool and X-Men: Days of Future Past. 102. It made 27% less than Days of Future Past. 103. X-Men: Apocalypse opened in the United States on May 27, 2016, alongside Alice Through the Looking Glass, and was projected to gross around $80 million from 4,150 theaters in its opening 3 days, and up to $100 million over the 4-day Memorial Day weekend. 104. 105. It made $8.2 million from Thursday previews at 3,565 theaters, better than its predecessor at $8.1 million. 106. 107. On its opening day it grossed $26.4 million, including previews, the fourth lowest opening day amount of the franchise. 108. In its first 3 days, it grossed $65.80 million. 109. 110. On its way to grossing $79.8 million over the 4-day Memorial weekend. 111. Including $9 million from 480 premium large format screens and $19 million from Real D screens. 112. In its second weekend the film grossed $22.3 million, a drop of 66.1%, finishing second at the box office behind Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Out of the Shadows. 113. Elsewhere, X-Men: Apocalypse was released 1 week before the United States in 76 markets, and grossed $101.5 million from 20,796 screens over the May 18 weekend. It debuted at number 1 in 71 of those markets, with IMAX contributing $5 million from 246 screens in 57 markets, while Real D took in $18.4 million. 96. It broke opening records for Fox in the Philippines: $4.9 million, India, $3.4 million, Indonesia, $3.1 million, Singapore, $2.8 million, Thailand, $2.7 million, and Colombia, $1.9 million, and had the biggest opening in the X-Men franchise in 33 markets, including Russia, $6.5 million. 96. Its top openings were the United Kingdom, $10.5 million, Mexico, $8.6 million, Brazil, $6.6 million, Russia, $6.5 million, and France, $5.9 million. 96. It opened in China on June 3 and brought in $59 million, the second largest Fox opening in China and $20 million more than Days of Future Past. 114. It opened next in Japan on August 11. 96. Critical response. On review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, X-Men: Apocalypse holds an approval rating of 47% based on 334 reviews and an average rating of 5.6/10. The website's critical consensus reads, "Overloaded action and a cliched villain take the focus away from otherwise strong performers and resonant themes, making X-Men: Apocalypse, a middling chapter of the venerable superhero franchise. 115 on Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 52 out of 100, based on 48 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. 116 audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A on an A to F scale, while those at PostTrack gave it an overall positive score of 81% and a definite recommend of 62%. 117. Scott Mendelson of Forbes described the film as a franchise-killing disaster, writing, X-Men, Apocalypse is the kind of weightless, soulless trifle of a bore that makes comic book superhero movies look bad and makes me not look forward to the next installment. 118 Birth.Movies.Death stated the film was a fiasco and a low point for the franchise, criticizing its action scenes, CGI, Oscar Isaac's Apocalypse, its lack of story, and waste of various X-Men characters. 119. Ignatiy Vishnevetsky of the AV Club commented, much of what makes X-Men, Apocalypse legitimately interesting also makes it frustrating and lopsided, since singer and screenwriter-producer Simon Kinberg remained committed to the structure of an overlong comic book blockbuster, complete with a climax in which the world has to be saved using as many different colors of energy beam as possible. 120 Mike Ryan of Uproxx disparaged the film's story as redundant and stale, arguing, I get it, life is hard for mutants. We all get it. It's literally the only thing mutants ever seem to talk about. It is odd that other superheroes seem to get to have some fun, but never the X-Men. Here we are, 16 years later, and everyone involved is still sad. It feels repetitive. 121 Helen O'Hara of Empire criticized the storytelling and performances of the main cast, stating that the film was a failed callback to various past glories. 122. On the other hand, Mick LaSalle from the San Francisco Chronicle gave the film a positive review, calling it a thinking person's action movie and complimenting its high stakes. 123 Richard Roeper called the film a visual feast and lauded its cast, saying even the hardcore geeks who like to get their Comic-Con on, might be feeling a little superhero fatigue right about now. Still, you owe it to yourself to see Quicksilver do his thing. 124. Oscar Isaac, who played the title character Apocalypse, later expressed his disappointment with the film, commenting, Apocalypse, that was excruciating, I didn't know when I said yes that was what was going to be happening. That I was going to be encased in glue, latex, and a 40-pound suit that I had to wear a cooling mechanism at all times. I couldn't move my head, ever. And I had to sit on a specially designed saddle, because that's the only thing I could really sit on, and I would be rolled into a cooling tent in between takes. And so I just wouldn't ever talk to anybody, and I was just gonna be sitting and I couldn't really move, and sweating inside the mask and the helmet. And then getting it off was the worst part, because they just had to kind of scrape it off for hours and hours. In an interview with the New York Times, he later remarked when asked that he doesn't disown the film, though he wished they would have taken care of the character of Apocalypse a little better. 125. Accolades. List of awards and nominations. Year Award Category Recipient, S. Result Rex. 2016 AACTA Awards Best Visual Effects or Animation. John Dykstra, Matt Sloan, Blondell Adu, Stephen Hamilton, Tim Crosby, and Dennis Jones nominated 126-127. Hollywood Music and Media Awards Best Original Score Sci-Fi/Fantasy Film. John Ottman nominated 128-129. Spike Guys Choice Awards Jean-Claude Goddamn Olivia Munn 1 citation needed. Teen Choice Awards Choice Summer Movie X-Men, Apocalypse nominated 130. Choice Movie, Hissy Fit Hugh Jackman nominated. Choice Movie, Scene Stealer Evan Peters nominated. Choice Movie, Breakout Star Alexandra Shipp nominated. 2017 Golden Tomato Awards Best Comic Book/Graphic Novel Movie. 2016 X-Men, Apocalypse 4th place 131. People's Choice Awards Favorite Movie Actress Jennifer Lawrence won 132. Favorite Action Movie Actress nominated. Favorite Action Movie X-Men, Apocalypse nominated. Saturn Awards Best Comic to Film Motion Picture X-Men, Apocalypse nominated 133. Best Director Bryan Singer nominated. Best Makeup Charles Carter, Rita Sisitsi, and Rosalina da Silva nominated. Visual Effects Society Awards Outstanding Compositing in a Photo-Real Feature Quicksilver Rescue Jess Bernheim, Alana Newell, Andy Peel, and Matthew Shaw nominated 134. Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards Favorite Squad James McAvoy, Alexandra Shipp, Sophie Turner, Jennifer Lawrence, Michael Fassbender, Nicholas Hoult, Evan Peters, Tye Sheridan, Ben Hardy, Cody Smith-McPhee, Olivia Munn nominated 135. Sequel. Main article, Dark Phoenix, film. In May 2016, Simon Kinberg said the next X-Men film would be set in the 1990s. 136 He separately said the post-credits scene mentioning the Essex Corporation was related to Logan, 2017, and that it could have ties to Gambit as well as the following X-Men film. 137 Bryan Singer said he would be interested in having the villain Proteus in an X-Men film. 138 He also said he would be stepping away from the franchise, but could envision returning later in some capacity. 139 Amidst allegations of sexual abuse in 2017, Singer was removed from production after being involved in the earliest production stage. 140 The film sequel, Dark Phoenix, was released on June 7, 2019 James McAvoy, /MKV/, born April 21, 1979, is a Scottish actor and director. He made his acting debut as a teen in The Near Room, 1995, and appeared mostly on television until 2003, when his film career began. His notable television work includes the thriller State of Play, 2003, the science fiction miniseries Frank Herbert's Children of Dune, 2003, and the drama series Shameless, 2004-2005. McAvoy gained recognition for playing Mr. Tumnus in the fantasy film The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, 2005, and an assassin in the action film Wanted, 2008. After winning the inaugural BAFTA Rising Star Award in 2006, his performances in the period dramas The Last King of Scotland, 2006, and Atonement, 2007, gained him BAFTA Award nominations. In 2011 he voiced the title characters in Arthur Christmas and Romeo and Juliet, and portrayed Charles Xavier in the superhero film X-Men, First Class, a role he reprised in future installments of the X-Men series. McAvoy gained praise for starring in the independent crime film Filth, 2013, and as a superpowered man with 23 dissociative identities in M. Night Shyamalan's Split, 2016, and its successor Glass, 2019. He portrayed Lord Asriel in the fantasy series His Dark Materials from 2019 to 2022, and starred as Bill Denbrough in the horror film It Chapter 2, 2019. On stage, McAvoy has performed in several West End productions, such as 3 Days of Rain in 2010, Macbeth in 2013, The Ruling Class in 2015, and Cyrano de Bergerac in 2020, for which he received 4 nominations for the Laurence Olivier Award for Best Actor. Early life. McAvoy was born on April 21, 1979 in Glasgow. 1-2 to bus driver turned builder James McAvoy Sr. and psychiatric nurse Elizabeth, née Johnstone, died 2018. 3-4-5 He was brought up as a Roman Catholic. 6 His parents separated when he was 7 and divorced when he was 11. 3 McAvoy's mother suffered from poor health and subsequently sent him to live with his maternal grandparents, Mary and James Johnstone, in the nearby Drum Chapel area of Glasgow. 7 His mother lived with them intermittently. 3 McAvoy has a younger sister named Joy and a younger half-brother named Donald. 3 McAvoy confirmed in an interview with The Guardian that both his parents were deceased. 8 But he had not been in contact with his father since childhood. 3 He attended the Catholic St. Thomas Aquinas Secondary School in the Jordan Hill area of Glasgow and briefly considered joining the priesthood. 9-10 In a 2006 interview, McAvoy said he considered becoming a priest as a child because it seemed to be a way to explore the world via missionary work. 11 During his education, he worked at a local bakery. 9-10 McAvoy applied to join the Royal Navy and had already been accepted when he was also offered a place to study acting at the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama, RSAMD, now the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. 12 After graduating in 2000, he moved to London. Career. Early work. McAvoy's acting debut was at the age of 15 years in The Near Room, 1995. He later admitted that he was not very interested in acting when joining the film, but was inspired to study acting after developing feelings for his CO star, Alana Brady. 13 He continued to act while still a member of Pace Youth Theatre. 14-15 McAvoy graduated from the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama in 2000. 16 Throughout the early 2000s, he made guest appearances in television shows and began working in film. In 2001, McAvoy's performance as a gay hustler in the play Out in the Open impressed director Joe Wright so much that Wright began offering McAvoy parts in his films. McAvoy kept declining them, however, and it was not until 6 years later that the two worked together. 16 He appeared in Privates on Parade in the Donmar warehouse, where he was noticed by Sam Mendes. 3 In 2001, the actor appeared as Private James W. Miller in Band of Brothers, an 11-hour World War II miniseries by executive producers Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks. 17-18 He gained the attention of critics in 2002's White Teeth, a 4-part television drama miniseries adaptation based on the novel of the same name by Zadie Smith. 19 In 2022, McAvoy commented that Smith didn't say he was bad at playing the part. She told him he was the wrong casting, because he was too little. The character should have been more overweight. 8. In 2003, McAvoy appeared in the Sci-Fi Channel miniseries Frank Herbert's Children of Dune, adapted from Frank Herbert's novels. 20 He then accepted the role of an unprincipled reporter in 2003's State of Play. 21 The 6-part drama serial tells the story of a newspaper's investigation into the death of a young woman and was broadcast on BBC One. 22-23 Calling the program a must-see, the Chicago Tribune recommended State of Play for its cast's performance. 24 In 2002, McAvoy shot scenes for Bollywood Queen, described as West Side Story meets Romeo and Juliet with bindies. It was shown as a special presentation at the 2003 Sundance Film Festival and opened in UK cinemas on October 17. 25-26. In 2004, he acted in the romantic comedy Wimbledon. 27 His next project was voicing a character named Hal in the 2004 English version of Strings, a mythic fantasy film. 28 Another 2004 release for him was Inside I'm Dancing, an Irish production directed by Damien O'Donnell starring alongside Stephen Robertson. In it, he was cast as one of the two principal characters, a maverick with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. 29 McAvoy ended 2004 by appearing in the first 2 seasons of Shameless as Steve McBride. 2000s. In 2005, he appeared in Walt Disney Pictures as The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe 30 made by Andrew Adamson and based on C.S. Lewis's children's novel. He appeared as Tumnus, a faun who befriends Lucy Pevensie, played by Georgie Henley, and joins Aslan, Liam Neeson's forces. It was given a UK release of December 9. At the UK box office, the film opened at number 1, earning around £8.7 million at 498 cinemas over the weekend. 31 Worldwide, Narnia grossed £463 million. 32 In 2006 he accepted the role of Bryan Jackson, a nerdy university student who wins a place on a university challenge quiz team in the mid-1980s, in Starter for 10. He was directed by David Nichols, who adapted the film's screenplay from his own book. The British-American production was given distribution in the UK on November 10. In spite of the positive buzz, the film flopped at the box office, unable to recover its production costs of £5.7 million. 33-34. Forrest Whitaker had suggested McAvoy to director Kevin MacDonald for the role of Nicholas Garrigan in 2000 and SIX's low-budgeted The Last King of Scotland. 35 McAvoy portrayed a Scottish doctor who becomes the personal physician to dictator Idi Amin, played by Whitaker, while in Uganda. While the film is based on factual events of Amin's rule, the details of the story and the character McAvoy played are fictional and adapted from Giles Foden's 1998 novel. McAvoy assessed his character to be a completely selfish prick. 11:36 McAvoy was named Best Actor of the Year by Scotland's own BAFTA Awards, where the film swept the major categories 37 and received a nomination for the BAFTA Award for Best Actor in a Supporting Role. The film received 3 awards, including the Outstanding British Film of the Year. 38-39. Following that, he played Irish attorney Tom Lefroy and love interest to Jane Austen in Becoming Jane, a 2007 historical film inspired by the author's early life. 40 Next up was Penelope, which premiered at the 2006 Toronto International Film Festival. 41 Also starring Christina Ricci, it generated polarized reviews. 42 The breakthrough role in McAvoy's career came in Atonement, Joe Wright's 2007 adaptation of Ian McEwan's novel of the same title. A romantic war film, it focuses on lovers Cecilia and Robbie's, Keira Knightley and McAvoy, lives being torn apart after her jealous younger sister Bryony, Saoirse Ronan, falsely accuses him of rape. Upon reading the script, McAvoy said he thought if I don't get the part I'm not reading the book because it'll be devastating. It's an amazing role and I really wanted it. 43 McAvoy has called the film incredibly sad but considers it an uplifting experience. He also shared that he hoped viewers will be left absolutely devastated and harrowed. Screenings of Atonement were held at the 2007 Toronto International Film Festival, where it was one of the most acclaimed films present, and Venice Film Festival. 44-45 Atonement was a big awards contender. It was nominated for 14 BAFTAs and 7 Academy Awards. 46-47 Both McAvoy and Knightley were nominated for their performances at the 65th Golden Globe Awards, respectively. 48-49 The Hollywood Reporter writer Ray Bennett said the duo gave compelling and charismatic performances. 50 In December 2022, McAvoy stated that McEwan was not entirely satisfied with his casting as Robbie in Atonement. He wasn't disparaging. He just gave me nothing. And I was a bit devastated. Then he said I was a bit small because my character, Robbie, was meant to be the 6 feet Tandadonis, and I was a 25-year-old pasty Glaswegian who's 5 feet nothing. 8. His next role saw McAvoy appear with Angelina Jolie and Morgan Freeman in Wanted, 2008, an action film where he portrayed Wesley Gibson, a young American slacker who learns he is heir to a legacy of assassins. When McAvoy screen tested for the role, he was initially rejected because the studio was seeking an actor with conventional Hollywood leading man looks and physique. He later recalled being considered the runt of the litter of those who tested, but ultimately got the role in late 2006 since the studio wanted someone geeky. 51-52 While shooting action scenes for Wanted, he suffered several injuries, including a twisted ankle and an injured knee. 53 Nonetheless, the actor said he had a good time whilst making the film. McAvoy had not previously done this type of genre, and thought of Wanted as a chance to be more versatile. 54. Loosely based on the comic book miniseries of the same name by Mark Millar, it saw a June 2008 release worldwide. It received favorable reviews from the press, who generally liked that it was fast-paced. 55. At the box office, Wanted was a success, grossing $341 million against a $75 million production budget. 56. Next was The Last Station, 2009, a biopic that details the final months of celebrated writer Leo Tolstoy and also stars Anne-Marie Duff, McAvoy's wife at the time. 57. It was shown at a limited number of screens in the US. 58. Although most critics' awards paid attention to CO stars Helen Mirren and Christopher Plummer, the Satellite Awards nominated McAvoy for Best Supporting Actor. 59. In 2009, McAvoy voiced Angelina's father, Maurice Muselling, in the television series, Angelina Ballerina, The Next Steps. He also appeared on stage in 2009 at Apollo Theater's 3 Days of Rain. 60. 2010s. McAvoy at the 2010 Toronto International Film Festival. He voiced the male titular character in the film Romeo and Juliet, 2011, an animated movie based on William Shakespeare's play Romeo and Juliet. 61. In Robert Redford's historical American drama The Conspirator, McAvoy played the role of an idealistic war hero who reluctantly defends CO conspirator Mary Surratt, Robin Wright, charged in the Abraham Lincoln assassination. It premiered at the 2010 Toronto International Film Festival. 62. While this movie garnered mixed reception, critics lauded the actor for his work. In Owen Gleiberman's assessment of The Conspirator, he found it stiff-jointed and tedious, but regarded McAvoy as an avid presence. 63. In mid-2010, McAvoy was cast as telepathic superhero Professor X, leader and founder of the X-Men, in X-Men, First Class. 64. He joined an ensemble that included Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, and Nicholas Hoult. Based on the Marvel Comics and a prequel to the film series, it focuses on the relationship between Professor X and Magneto and the origin of their groups. McAvoy did not read comics as a child, but was a fan of the X-Men animated cartoon series. 65. Released to the UK on June 1, First Class topped its box office with ticket sales of around £5 million in its opening weekend. 66. First Class was reviewed favorably and McAvoy's performance was widely praised. 67. In 2011, he began filming the role of Max Lewinsky in the British thriller Welcome to the Punch. 68. That same year, McAvoy voiced the title character in the animated holiday film Arthur Christmas. He also played the lead role in the Danny Boyle film Trance. In 2012, McAvoy was cast as Bruce Robertson in Filth, an adaptation of the Irvine Welsh novel of the same name. The film's ensemble cast includes McAvoy's former classmate Shauna MacDonald as his wife, as well as Jamie Bell, Jim Broadbent, Eddie Marsan, and Imogen Poots. For his role, McAvoy won Best Actor at the British Independent Film Awards in December 2013. 69-70. It was also announced that he would co-star with Jessica Chastain in a double-feature film project, The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby. 71. He performed the male lead in radio play adaptation of Neverwhere written by Neil Gaiman. 72. In October 2016, McAvoy played the character Richard in the BBC Radio 4 production of Neil Gaiman's short story How the Marquis Got His Coat Back. 73. McAvoy starred in Shakespeare's Macbeth on London's West End in early 2013. Macbeth was the first performance at the Trafalgar Transformed, running from February 9 until April 27. The production was directed by Jamie Lloyd, who also directed McAvoy in his last stint on the stage in 2009's 3 Days of Rain. 74. In 2015, McAvoy won the Best Actor award at London's Evening Standard Theatre Awards for his portrayal of Jack Gurney in the ruling Class 75, a revival of the Peter Barnes play directed by Jamie Lloyd. It ran at Trafalgar Studios from January 16 to April 11, 2015. McAvoy reprised his role as Professor X in X-Men, Days of Future Past, 2014, which grossed $747.9 million worldwide, making it the 6th highest-grossing film of the year 2014 and the 2nd highest-grossing film in the X-Men franchise and in 2016's X-Men, Apocalypse. 76-77. In 2016, he starred in the M. Night Shyamalan thriller Split as Kevin Wendell Crumb, a dissociative identity disorder sufferer with dangerous capabilities. 78-79. In 2018, McAvoy voiced Hazel in the BBC miniseries Watership Down. In 2019, he reprised his role as Crumb in Glass 80 and then returned as Professor X in the film Dark Phoenix. 81. McAvoy played the adult Bill Denbrough in the horror film It Chapter 2, the sequel to It, 2017, which premiered on September 6, 2019. 82 and grossed $473 million at the box office. Also in 2019, McAvoy starred as Lord Asriel in the television adaptation of his Dark Materials. 83-84. 2020s. On March 4, 2020, it was announced that Audible would be adapting Neil Gaiman's acclaimed comic book series The Sandman into a multi-part audio drama, with McAvoy voicing the lead character, Dream. McAvoy starred in the Jamie Lloyd Company production of Cyrano de Bergerac, which opened in the West End's Harold Pinter Theatre on February 3, 2022, for which he won a What's on Stage award for Best Performer in a Male-Identifying Role. He continued his performance in a limited run at the Harvey Theatre at Brooklyn Academy of Music, BAM, opening the show stateside on April 5, 2022 and running until May 22, 2022. 85. He began principal photography on his directorial debut, California Schemin', in Scotland in November 2024. 86. Personal life. While working on Shameless, McAvoy began dating CO star Anne-Marie Duff, who played his character's love interest. They married on November 11, 2006. 87, and their son was born in 2010. 88. McAvoy and Duff announced their decision to divorce in May 2016. 89, and to minimize disruption to their son's life, they initially shared a home in North London when not working elsewhere. 90. McAvoy later began a relationship with Lisa Liberati, whom he had met on the set of Split, 2016, where she worked as a personal assistant to director M. Night Shyamalan. In early 2022, he confirmed they had privately married after years of speculation. 91. The couple have a son born in 2022. 92. After McAvoy won the Rising Star Award from the BAFTAs, his estranged father spoke to the Sunday Mirror, stating that he would love to get in touch with his son but did not know how to contact him. Although he did not read the piece, McAvoy heard about it and was unmoved. 3. McAvoy considers himself a spiritual person who no longer practices Catholicism. 10. He enjoys fantasy themes, which he said started from age 11 with reading The Lord of the Rings. 93. McAvoy is a fan of Scottish Premiership team Celtic FC, stating that his dream acting role would be Celtic player Jimmy Johnstone. 94. He had once been a video game addict, playing role-playing games such as The Legend of Zelda, Secret of Mana, and The Elder Scrolls IV, Oblivion, which he quit after it began affecting his life. McAvoy recalled burning his disc of Oblivion with a kitchen stove to get rid of his addiction to the game. 95. Speaking to Sky News in 2011, McAvoy said he believed that British filmmakers belittlingly attempt to dumb down their productions to please American audiences. 96. He had previously called 3D films a waste of money, accusing film studios of using the effect to get more money out of cinema audiences. 97. Philanthropy. In 2011, McAvoy did a base jump from the world's tallest hospital building in a bid to help raise money for Ugandan children's charity Retrack, which assists children on the streets. 98. After this, he continued to support Retrack. 99. Additionally, he is a supporter of the British Red Cross, with whom he travelled to Uganda to raise awareness of the projects there. He had become involved with the charity after shooting The Last King of Scotland there for several months and was shocked by what he saw. 100. In February 2007, he visited northern Uganda and spent 4 days seeing projects supported by the British Red Cross. 101. In 2015, McAvoy pledged £125,000 to a 10-year scholarship programme at his former drama school, the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. 102. In March 2020, McAvoy donated £275,000 to a crowdfunding campaign to help the NHS mitigate the COVID-19 pandemic in the United Kingdom. Michael Fassbender, German pronunciation, male Fassbender, born April 2, 1977, is a German-Irish actor. His accolades include nominations for 2 Academy Awards, 4 British Academy Film Awards and 3 Golden Globe Awards. In 2020, he was listed at number 9 on the Irish Times list of Ireland's greatest film actors. 1. After studying at the Drama Centre London, Fassbender made his feature film debut in 300, 2006. Early roles include in the HBO miniseries Band of Brothers, 2001, and the Sky One fantasy drama Hex, 2004-2005. He first came to prominence playing Bobby Sands in the drama Hunger, 2008. Subsequent roles include the 2009 films Fish Tank and Inglourious Bastard, and the 2011 films Jane Eyre and A Dangerous Method. He gained mainstream success for playing Eric Lane-Share/Magneto in the X-Men series, and David A. and Walter 1 in Prometheus, 2012, and its sequel, Alien, Covenant, 2017. For his portrayal of a sex addict in Steve McQueen's drama Shame, 2011, he won the Volpe Cup for Best Actor. His portrayals of Edwin Epps in the historical drama 12 Years a Slave, 2013, and title role in biographical drama Steve Jobs, 2015, respectively, earned him nominations for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor and Best Actor. Following further roles in the films The Counselor, 2013, Frank, 2014, and Macbeth, 2015, he took an 8-year hiatus, during which he began competing in auto racing. After driving for Proton competition in the European Le Mans Series in 2023, Fassbender made a return to acting with the action films The Killer, 2023, and Black Bag, 2025. Married to Swedish actress Alicia Vikander since 2017, he has 2 children. Early life. Fassbender was born on April 2, 1977 in Heidelberg, Baden-Württemberg, West Germany. His mother, Adele, is originally from Larne, County Antrim, Northern Ireland, and his father, Joseph Fassbender, is German. 3-4 Fassbender has an elder sister named Catherine, a neuropsychologist at the Mind Institute in Sacramento, California, United States. 5-6 According to lore on her side of family, Adele is the great-grandniece of Michael Collins, an Irish leader during the War of Independence. 7-8. At the age of 2, Fassbender moved to Killarney, County Kerry, Ireland, where Joseph and Adele were to operate a restaurant named the West End House. Joseph also worked as a chef in the restaurant. The couple chose Killarney because they wanted their children to grow up in the countryside, in contrast to the industrial backdrop of their previous German residence. 3-7. Fassbender, who was raised Catholic, served as an altar boy at the church his family attended. 9 He and Catherine spent summer holidays in Germany. 10 He attended Fossa National School in Fossa 11 and St. Brendan's College in Killarney. 12 Fassbender decided to become an actor at the age of 17 when he was cast in a play. He left home to study at the Drama Centre London at the age of 19. In 1999, Fassbender dropped out of the Drama Centre and toured with the Oxford Stage Company to perform the play Three Sisters. 5-13 Before finding steady work as an actor, he worked as a bartender, postman, manual labourer, market researcher for Royal Mail and Dell employee. 14-15. Acting career. 2001-2005, television work. Fassbender at the 2009 Cannes Film Festival. Fassbender's first screen role was that of Pat Christensen in Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg's award-winning television miniseries Band of Brothers, 2001. 16 He played the character of Azazel in both series of Hex on Sky 1 and starred as the main character in the music video for the song Blind Pilots by the British band the Cooper Temple Claws. In the video, he plays the part of a man out with friends on a stag night who slowly transforms into a goat due to wearing a cowbell necklace. 16 Fassbender played Jonathan Harker in a 10-part radio serialization of Dracula produced by BBC Northern Ireland and broadcast in the Book at Bedtime series between November 24 and December 5, 2003. He was also seen in early 2004 in a Guinness television commercial, The Quarrel, playing a man who swims across the ocean from Ireland to apologize personally to his brother in New York. 17 This commercial won a gold medal at the 2005 FAV Awards. 18-19. On the 2006 Edinburgh Festival Fringe, Fassbender played Michael Collins, his great-great-granduncle. 2021 in Allegiance, a play by Mary Kenny based on the meeting between Collins and Winston Churchill. 20 In addition, Fassbender produced, directed, and starred in a stage version of Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs 16 along with his production company. He appeared in Angel, UK title, The Real Life of Angel de Varel, about the rise and fall of an eccentric young British writer, played by Romola Garai, in the early 20th century. Fassbender plays her love interest, an average painter named Esme. 16 The drama The first English-language effort by French director François Ozon and based on the novel by Elizabeth Taylor premiered on February 17, 2007 at the Berlin International Film Festival and on March 14, 2007 in Paris. He then made a brief appearance in Dean Kavanagh and Irvine Welsh's Wedding Bells as Barney, speaking with a Scottish accent. 2006-2010, early film roles. In 2006, Fassbender played Stelios, a young Spartan warrior, in 300, a fantasy action film directed by Zack Snyder. The film was a commercial success. 22 In preparation for his role as Provisional Irish Republican Army prisoner Bobby Sands in Steve McQueen's historical drama film Hunger, 2008, Fassbender adopted a diet that restricted him to 600 calories a day, weighing 125 pounds, 57 kilograms, as Sands. 23 Regarded as his breakthrough. 24-25 His performance earned him the British Independent Film Award. 26 Peter Bradshaw, film critic of The Guardian, wrote, as Sands, Fassbender gives another ferociously convincing performance and his emaciated appearance is, finally, almost unwatchable. 27. 1 year after his success at the Cannes Film Festival with Hunger, he appeared in 2 films. The first was Quentin Tarantino's revisionist World War II comedy drama Inglourious Bastard, in which he played the British officer Lieutenant Archie Hecox. Fassbender acted opposite Brad Pitt, Diane Kruger, Melanie Laurent, and Christoph Waltz. Eric Cohn of IndieWire praised the film and its ensemble, declaring, "Hell, it's one of the best films of the century. The cast is superb." 28 The other film was the British drama Fish Tank, directed by Andrea Arnold. Fassbender plays the boyfriend, acting opposite Kirsten Waring as the single mother with 2 children. Ray Bennett of The Hollywood Reporter praised their chemistry and roles, writing, "Fassbender and Waring give honest and open performances as the conflicted adults." 29 Both films were critically acclaimed and Fassbender's work in them also well received. Weasel words. Fassbender at the premiere of 12 Years a Slave, 2013 Toronto International Film Festival. In 2010, Fassbender appeared as Burke in Jonah Hex, a Western film. 30 In an interview at San Diego Comic-Con, a comic book convention, Fassbender commented of the role, "I kind of developed this character and really pushed it. I'll see how far I pushed it. I had this idea about the character, he's kind of psychotic, he gets his kicks in perverted ways. I didn't want to make it very obvious or like something you've seen before." 31 Hex received predominantly negative reviews. 32 Responding to criticism of Jonah Hex in 2011, Fassbender commented, "Pretty awful, was it? I haven't seen it myself." 33 He portrayed Quintus Dias in Neil Marshall's bloody Roman war thriller drama film Centurion. 34 And was cast as Richard Worth in the Joel Schumacher film Blood Creek alongside Dominic Purcell. The story centers on a West Virginia man who comes to terms with his moral qualms and helps his brother wipe out a family that had been protecting a Nazi occultist and who had kept his brother captive for him to feed off for years. 2011-2019, mainstream success. 2011 was a breakout year for Fassbender. He portrayed Edward Rochester in the period film Jane Eyre, featuring Mia Wasikowska in the title role, with Cary Fukunaga directing. 35 He next portrayed Magneto in the superhero blockbuster X-Men, First Class, the prequel to X-Men. Set in 1962, it focuses on the friendship between Charles Xavier, played by James McAvoy, and Magneto and the origin of their groups, the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants. The film was released on June 3, 2011 to general acclaim and financial success and promoted Fassbender to being more of a popular movie star. In 2011, Fassbender starred in A Dangerous Method by director David Cronenberg, playing Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. The film premiered at the 2011 Venice Film Festival. 36 He also starred in Shame, as a man in his 30s struggling with his sexual addiction. Shame reunited him with director Steve McQueen and premiered at the 2011 Venice Film Festival, where Fassbender won a Volpe Cup Best Actor Award for his portrayal of Brandon. 37 Fassbender was a serious contender for an Academy Award for Best Actor in a leading role, but he was not nominated, and according to various sources his full frontal nudity and depiction of sexual encounters inspired voters to fantasize, and not actually vote. 38-39 Fassbender achieved critical acclaim for his portrayal in Shame and received nominations for a Golden Globe Award and a BAFTA Award. 40-41 In 2012, he appeared as an MI6 agent in Haywire, an action thriller directed by Steven Soderbergh. 30 And in Ridley Scott's science fiction film Prometheus. Reviews praised both the film's visual aesthetic design and the acting, most notably Fassbender's performance as the android David 8. Fassbender played the title role in Ridley Scott's The Counselor, a 2013 film based on the Cormac McCarthy script. 42-43 In 2013, he starred in 12 Years a Slave, his third collaboration with Steve McQueen. Fassbender's portrayal of Edwin Epps earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Fassbender reprised the role of Magneto in X-Men, Days of Future Past, released May 23, 2014, the sequel to X-Men, First Class. 44 Fassbender stars in the title role in Frank, released late summer 2014, 45 A comedy loosely inspired by Frank Sidebottom, a comic persona created by English comedian Chris Seavey. Fassbender, Marion Cotillard, and Justin Kurzel at the Cannes premiere of Macbeth in 2015. Fassbender co starred in Slow West, a western starring Cody Smith-McPhee and Ben Mendelsohn, in 2015. He played Silas, an enigmatic traveler. 46 Fassbender played late Apple founder and CEO Steve Jobs in the Danny Boyle-directed film Steve Jobs, which began filming in January 2015, in San Francisco, U.S., and premiered in September of that year. The film is an adaptation of Walter Isaacson's book Steve Jobs. 47 The screenplay was written by Aaron Sorkin. Fassbender became attached after Christian Bale dropped out of the project. 48 Todd McCarthy of The Hollywood Reporter praised Fassbender writing, "While he doesn't closely physically resemble the man, he fully delivers the essentials of how we have come to perceive the man." 49 His performance saw him nominated for the Academy Award, BAFTA Award, Golden Globe Award, and Screen Actors Guild Award for Best Actor. 50 Fassbender took on the Shakespearean role of Macbeth in a film directed by Justin Kurzel, where he teamed up with Academy Award winner Marion Cotillard as Lady Macbeth and David Thewlis as King Duncan. 51 Filming for the production began in January 2014 and the film premiered at the 2015 Cannes Film Festival. 52 In 2016, Fassbender once again played Magneto in the film X-Men, Apocalypse. 53 He next starred in The Light Between Oceans, based on the novel written by M. L. Stedman, and directed by Derek Key in France. The film began filming in New Zealand in late September 2014, and was released on September 2, 2016. 54-55 Also in 2016, Fassbender starred in the thriller Trespass Against Us, with fellow Irishman Brendan Gleeson. 56. His final film of the year was the adaptation of video game Assassin's Creed, which he co-produced through his DMC film banner. 57. It was released on December 21, 2016. Macbeth Helmer Justin Kurzel directed, and co-star Marion Cotillard had a leading role, working with Fassbender again. 58. 59. In May 2017, Fassbender reprised his role as the android David, and played another character, in the sequel to Prometheus, Alien, Covenant. 60. In 2015, Fassbender was cast as Harry Hoult, becoming the first actor ever to portray the character, in The Snowman, an adaptation of Joan S. Best novel, directed by Tomas Alfredson and co-starring Rebecca Ferguson and Charlotte Gainsbourg. Filming began in January 2016 and the film was released in October 2017. 61. Fassbender reprised his role as Magneto in the 2019 film Dark Phoenix, which garnered unfavorable reviews and had a commercially unsuccessful theatrical run. 62. 63. 2020-present, acting hiatus and return. After a 4-year absence during which Fassbender pursued auto racing, he returned to film acting in David Fincher's action thriller The Killer, 2023, which premiered at the Venice International Film Festival. Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian praised Fassbender's casting writing. Michael Fassbender is perfect in the main role of a yoga-loving assassin. 64. The same year he starred in Next Goal Wins, directed by Taika Waititi, based upon the documentary of the same name. Fassbender also helped produce The Kitchen, a dystopian drama for Netflix. 65. Written by Daniel Kaluuya and Joe Murtaugh. In 2024, Fassbender began starring in the action thriller series The Agency for Paramount+. 66. He will also star alongside Alicia Vikander and Taylor Russell in N.A. Hongjin's thriller Hope, due to be released in 2025. 67. 68. And alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger and David Hasselhoff in the martial arts comedy feature Kung Fury 2, a sequel to the 2015 short film. 69. 70. Though principal photography on Kung Fury 2 was completed by 2019, legal issues have so far prevented the completed film from being released. 71. Auto racing. Michael Fassbender. European Le Mans Series career. Debut season 2020. Current team Proton competition. Racing license FIA bronze. Car number 93. Engine Porsche. Starts 22. Championships 0. Wins 0. Podiums 3. Poles 2. Fastest laps 0. Best finish 5th in 2021. Previous series. 2020 to 2021. 2019. 2017-2018 Porsche Supercup. Porsche driving experience. Ferrari Challenge. Fassbender has expressed an interest in motorsport since his youth, stating in 2020, "Even before I started acting, I had a big dream to go racing." 72. A fan of Formula 1 and Scuderia Ferrari, he was a member of the team's Corso Pilota training course in 2016. 73. He began racing in the Ferrari Challenge's Coppa Shell class in May 2017, finishing 15th in his debut at Mugello Circuit. 74. He also raced in the Challenge's North American division, finishing 6th at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. 73. In 2018, he ran the full Ferrari Challenge North America schedule, winning the season opener at Daytona International Speedway and finishing 5th in the standings. 75. Fassbender driving at the Red Bull Ring during the 2021 Porsche Supercup season. Fassbender moved to Porsche in 2019, competing in Porsche Carrera Cup Germany with the German Porsche Racing Experience and being the subject of a YouTube series by Porsche, called Road to Le Mans. 76. The following year, he joined Proton competition for the full 2020 European Le Mans series, sharing a 2017 Porsche 911 RSR with Richard Leitz and Felipe Fernandez Laser. 72. Later in the year, Fassbender raced a guest car in the Porsche Supercup at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, and was involved in a Star T-line crash, putting him out of the race within seconds. 77. In 2021, Fassbender continued to race with Proton competition in the European Le Mans series. Fassbender and his CO drivers scored 4th place finishes at the Red Bull Ring 78 and at Spa-Francorchamps 79 before achieving his best ever finish and his first podium at the last race at Portimao, finishing 2nd behind the number 80 Iron Lynx, eventual LMGTE champion. 80. The team finished 4th in the LMGTE Teams Championship, with 61 points. Complete European Le Mans series results. Key races in bold indicate pole position, results in italics indicate fastest lap. Year entrant class chassis engine 1 2 3 4 5 6 rank points. 2020 Proton competition LMGTE Porsche 911 RSR Porsche 4.0 L flat 6 LEC. 7 Spa. 4 LEC. DNS MNZ. 5 ALG. 4 6th 47. 2021 Proton competition LMGTE Porsche 911 RSR 19 Porsche 4.2 L flat 6 Cat. 6 RBR, 4 LEC, 8 MNZ, 7 SPA, 4 ALG, 2/5 61. 2022 Proton Competition LMGTE Porsche 911 RSR 19 Porsche 4.2 L Flat 6 LEC, 3 MO, 7 MNZ, RET Cat, 8 SPA, 7 ALG, 8 14th 35. 2023 Proton Competition LMGTE Porsche 911 RSR 19 Porsche 4.2 L Flat 6 Cat, 8 LEC, 10 ARA, 3 SPA, RET ALG, 9 ALG, 11 13th 22. Sources 8182. Complete 24 hours of LE men's results. Year Team CO Drivers Car Class Laps POS Class. POS. 2022 Germany Proton Racing Australia Matt Campbell. Canada Zachary Robichon Porsche 911 RSR 19 LMGTE. AM 329 51st 16th. 2023 Germany Proton Racing Austria Richard Leitz. Estonia Martin Rump Porsche 911 RSR 19 LMGTE. AM 246 DNF. Sources 8283. Personal life. Fassbender and his wife Alicia Vikander at the 2020 Dublin International Film Festival. In June 2012, Fassbender told GQ magazine that he was dating American actress Nicole Beharie, with whom he had worked on the film Shame, 2011. 84 In December 2014, he began dating Swedish actress Alicia Vikander, with whom he had worked on the film The Light Between Oceans, 2016. 85-86 They married in a private ceremony in Ibiza on October 14, 2017. 87-88 and have 2 sons together. 89-90-91 They moved to Portugal in 2017 and purchased a home in the Alfama district of Lisbon. 87-88 with Fassbender selling the property in the Hackney area of London he had lived in since 1996. 92-93-94 Fassbender is known for preferring to keep his personal life private. 95 He has said that he was an altar boy as a child and is now a lapsed Catholic, but still goes to church to light candles. 12-96 He is a supporter of English football team Liverpool FC. 97-98 He holds a German passport. 99 and has admitted that he intended to get an Irish passport for years and just never got around to it. 99 He speaks German 10 though he stated that he needed to brush up on it before filming Inglourious Bastard, 2009, because it was a bit rusty. 100-101 He has expressed interest in performing in a German-language film or play. 102 In 2010, Fassbender's ex-girlfriend Sunewin Andrews accused him of 2 incidents of domestic abuse that had occurred the previous year. 103 News reports cited a court petition and a restraining order filed by Andrews, alleging that Fassbender was screaming at her while driving recklessly. After she got out of the car, he allegedly drove forward and dragged her alongside it. 103 This resulted in a hospital visit to treat a twisted left ankle, blown out left kneecap, and a burst ovarian cyst in addition to lots of internal bleeding. 103 The second incident came when he allegedly returned to their hotel room from a film festival, inebriated and accompanied by a friend, and the 2 men tried to get into bed with her. After checking into another room for the night, she alleges that he threw her over a chair and broke her nose when she tried to wake him up after finding him asleep in his own urine. 103 He has not publicly addressed the allegations, which resurfaced during the Me Too movement in 2017. 103 Acting credits and accolades. Main articles, Michael Fassbender filmography and list of awards and nominations received by Michael Fassbender. Fassbender has been recognized by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences for 2 performances. 104 86th Academy Awards, 2013 nomination for Best Supporting Actor, as Edwin Epps in 12 Years a Slave. 88th Academy Awards, 2015 nomination for Best Actor, as Steve Jobs in Steve Jobs. Fassbender has received a Critics' Choice Movie Award, a Screen Actors Guild Award, and the Venice International Film Festival's Volpi Cup for Best Actor. He has also received nominations for 4 BAFTA Awards, 3 Golden Globe Awards, and 2 European Film Awards. Notes: Fassbender is a German passport holder, who never got around to getting an Irish passport. 99 He lived in Ireland until age 19 and has described himself as Irish, saying in 2016, "I definitely still consider myself Irish. And I'm definitely European." Jennifer Schrader Lawrence, born August 15, 1990, is an American actress and producer. She is known for starring in both action film franchises and independent dramas, and her films have grossed over $6 billion worldwide. The world's highest-paid actress in 2015 and 2016, she appeared in Time's 100 Most Influential People in the World list in 2013 and the Forbes Celebrity 100 list from 2013 to 2016. Her accolades include an Academy Award, a British Academy Film Award, 3 Golden Globe Awards, and a Peabody Award. Lawrence began her career as a teenager with guest roles on television. Her first major role was as a main cast member on the sitcom The Bill Engvall Show, 2007-2009. She made her film debut with a supporting role in the drama Garden Party, 2008, and had her breakthrough playing a poverty-stricken teenager in the independent film Winter's Bone, 2010. Lawrence gained stardom portraying the mutant Mystique in the X-Men film series, 2011-2019, and Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games film series, 2012-2015. The latter made her the highest-grossing action heroine. Lawrence collaborated with filmmaker David O. Russell on 3 films, all which garnered her significant recognition. For portraying a troubled young widow in the romance Silver Linings Playbook, 2012, she won the Academy Award for Best Actress, becoming the second youngest winner in the category at age 22. Lawrence won the BAFTA Award for Best Actress in a supporting role for playing an unpredictable wife in the black comedy American Hustle, 2013. She also received Golden Globe Awards for both, and for portraying businesswoman Joy Mangano in the biopic Joy, 2015. A series of mixed-reviewed films and the media scrutiny of her role choices led to a small break from acting. Lawrence returned with the black comedy Don't Look Up, 2021, after which she produced and starred in the drama Causeway, 2022, and the comedy No Hard Feelings, 2023. In 2025, she received renewed critical attention for her lead role in the psychological drama Die, My Love. Lawrence is a feminist and advocates for women's reproductive rights. In 2015, she founded the Jennifer Lawrence Foundation, which advocates for the Boys and Girls Clubs of America and the Special Olympics. She is also an active member of the anti-corruption organization Represent Us. Lawrence formed the production company Excellent Cadaver in 2018. Early life. Jennifer Schrader Lawrence was born on August 15, 1990, in Indian Hills, Kentucky, to Gary, a construction company owner, and Karen, née Cook, a summer camp manager. 234 She has 2 older brothers, Ben and Blaine. 3 Lawrence's parents were not anticipating a child when she was conceived, and Karen once said, "We thought we were finished having kids. We got rid of the baby bed and everything." 5 The family owned a horse farm when she was a child, and Lawrence owned a horse named Muffin. 6 Her mother raised her to be tough like her brothers, as she did not want Lawrence to be a diva. 5 Karen also refused to let her play with other girls in preschool, as she deemed her too rough with them and worried she would hurt them. 5-6 Even Lawrence admitted she was a hyper child. 7 Lawrence was educated at the Camera Middle School in Louisville. 6 She was raised as a Christian. 8 Lawrence did not enjoy her childhood due to hyperactivity and social anxiety, and considered herself a misfit among her peers. 9 I didn't have any friends. I remember being kind of lonely, she recalled. 6 Lawrence has said that her anxieties vanished when performing on stage and that acting gave her a sense of accomplishment. 9 Her school activities included cheerleading, softball, field hockey and basketball, which she played on a boys' team coached by her father. 6 Lawrence did not enjoy these activities, and recalled in 2015, "There's something about team sports, classes, I didn't take well to it. I didn't like it. I hated team sports." 5 Growing up, she was fond of horseback riding and frequently visited a local horse farm. 10 Lawrence has an injured tailbone as a result of being thrown from a horse. 11 When her father worked from home, she performed for him, often dressing up as a clown or ballerina. 12 Lawrence had her first acting assignment at age 9, playing a 9-beat prostitute in a church play based on the Book of Jonah. For the next few years, she continued taking parts in church plays and school musicals. 6 Lawrence was 14 and on a family vacation in New York City when she was spotted on the street by a talent scout, who arranged for her to audition for talent agents. 13-14 Her mother was not keen on her pursuing an acting career, but she briefly moved her family to New York to let Lawrence read for roles. 6 After her first cold reading, the agents said that hers was the best they had heard from someone so young. However, her mother convinced her that they were lying. 14 Lawrence said her early experiences were difficult because she felt lonely and friendless. 6 She signed with CESD Talent Agency, which convinced her parents to let her audition for roles in Los Angeles. While her mother encouraged her to go into modeling, she insisted on pursuing acting. 15 Which she considered a natural fit for her abilities, and turned down several modeling offers, though she modeled for Abercrombie & Fitch before beginning an acting career, and the modeling photos were never released. 16-13 She dropped out of school at 14 without receiving a general educational development, GED, or diploma. Lawrence has described herself as self-educated and said that her career was her priority. 17 Between her acting jobs in the city, she made regular visits to Louisville, where she was an assistant nurse at her mother's camp. 18 Career 2006-2011, Early Roles and Breakthrough. Lawrence at the 2007 Movie Guide Awards. Lawrence began her acting career with a minor role in the television pilot Company Town, 2006, which was never sold. 19 She followed it with guest roles in several television shows, including Monk, 2006, and Medium, 2007. 20. She received her first part as a series regular on the TBS sitcom The Bill Engvall Show, in which she played Lauren, the rebellious teenage daughter of a family living in suburban Louisville, Colorado. 20. The series premiered in 2007 and ran for 3 seasons. 21. Tom Shales of The Washington Post considered her a scene stealer in her part, and David Hinckley of the New York Daily News wrote that she was successful in delivering the perpetual exasperation of teenage girls. 22. 23. In 2009, Lawrence won a Young Artist Award for Outstanding Young Performer in a TV series for the role. 24. Lawrence made her film debut in the 2008 drama film Garden Party Indiana, which she played a troubled teenager named Tiff. 25. She then appeared in director Guillermo Arriaga's feature film debut The Burning Plain, 2008, a drama narrated in a hyperlink format. She was cast as the teenage daughter of Kim Basinger's character, who discovers her mother's extramarital affair. She shared the role with Charlize Theron, who played the older version of her character. Mark Feeney of the Boston Globe described her role as a thankless task, but Derek Elley of Variety praised her as the production's prime asset. 26. 27. Her performance earned her the Marcello Mastroianni Award for Best Emerging Actress at the 2008 Venice Film Festival. 28. The same year, she appeared in the music video for the song The Mess I Made by Parachute. 29. In 2008, she starred in Lori Petty's drama The Poker House as the oldest of 3 sisters living with a drug-abusing mother. 30. 31. Stephen Farber of The Hollywood Reporter opined that Lawrence has a touching poise on camera that conveys the resilience of children. 32. She won an Outstanding Performance Award at the Los Angeles Film Festival for her performance in the film. 33. Lawrence's breakthrough role came in Deborah Granick's independent drama Winter's Bone, 2010, based on the novel of the same name by Daniel Wood Rule. The film featured her as 17-year-old Ree Dolly, a poverty-stricken teenage girl in the Ozark Mountains who cares for her mentally ill mother and younger siblings while searching for her missing father. She traveled to the Ozarks a week before filming began to live with the family on whom the story was based, and in preparation for the role, she learned to fight, skin squirrels, and chop wood. 34. 35. David Denby of The New Yorker asserted that the film would be unimaginable with anyone less charismatic. 36. And Peter Travers of Rolling Stone wrote that her performance is more than acting, it's a gathering storm. Lawrence's eyes are a roadmap to what's tearing Rhea apart. 37. The production won the Grand Jury Prize at the Sundance Film Festival. 38. The actress was awarded the National Board of Review Award for Breakthrough Performance, and received her first nominations for the Golden Globe Award, SAG Award, and Academy Award for Best Actress, becoming the second youngest Best Actress Oscar nominee at the time. 39. 40. 41. Lawrence at the 83rd Academy Awards in 2011, where she received her first Academy Award nomination for Winter's Bone, 2010. In 2011, Lawrence took on a supporting role in Like Crazy, a romantic drama about long-distance relationships, starring Anton Yelchin and Felicity Jones. 42. Kenneth Turan of the Los Angeles Times considered the film to be an intensely wrought and immensely satisfying love story and credited all 3 performers for making their characters' yearning palpable. 43. She then appeared again with Yelchin in Jodie Foster's The Beaver, alongside Foster and Mel Gibson. Filmed in 2009, the production was delayed due to controversy concerning Gibson and earned less than half of its $21 million budget. 44. 45. After her dramatic role in Winter's Bone, Lawrence looked for something less serious, and found it with her first high-profile release, Matthew Vaughn's superhero film X-Men, First Class, 2011, a prequel to the X-Men film series. 46. She portrayed the shape-shifting mutant Mystique, a role played by Rebecca Romijn in the earlier films. 47. Vaughn cast Lawrence, as he thought that she would be able to portray the weakness and strength involved in the character's transformation. 48. For the part, Lawrence lost weight and practiced yoga. 49. For Mystique's blue form, she had to undergo 8 hours of makeup, where latex pieces and body paint were applied to her otherwise nude body, 50 as Romijn had done on the other films. This process required Lawrence to report to set at 2 a.m. 51. She was intimidated by the role as she admired Romijn. 52. Writing for USA Today, Claudia Pook considered the film to be a classy reboot of the film series, and believed that her high-spirited performance empowered the film. 53. With worldwide earnings of $350 million, X-Men, First Class became Lawrence's highest-grossing film at that point. 54. 2012-2015, established actress. In 2012, Lawrence starred as Katniss Everdeen in The Hunger Games, an adaptation of the first book in author Suzanne Collins' trilogy of the same name. Set in a post-apocalyptic future, the series tells the story of the teenage heroine Everdeen as she joins rebel forces against a totalitarian government after winning a brutal televised annual event. Despite being an admirer of the books, Lawrence was initially hesitant to accept the part, because of the grand scale of the film. She agreed to the project after her mother convinced her to take the part. 55. She practiced archery, rock and tree climbing, and hand-to-hand combat techniques, and other physically demanding activities for the role. 656-57 While training for the part, she injured herself running into a wall. 58 The Hunger Games garnered positive reviews, with Lawrence's portrayal of Everdeen being particularly praised. 59 Roger Ebert described the film as an effective entertainment, and found Lawrence to be strong and convincing in the central role. 60 Similarly, Todd McCarthy of The Hollywood Reporter called her an ideal screen actress, believing that she had embodied the Everdeen of the novel, and added that she anchors the film with impressive gravity and presence. 61 With worldwide revenues of over $690 million. 54 The Hunger Games became a top-grossing film featuring a female lead. 62 Making Lawrence the highest-grossing action heroine of all time. 63 The film's success established her as a global star. 64 Lawrence attending the premiere of Silver Linings Playbook at the 2012 Toronto International Film Festival. Later in 2012, Lawrence played Tiffany Maxwell, a troubled young widow, in David O. Russell's romantic comedy drama Silver Linings Playbook. The film is an adaptation of Matthew Quick's novel of the same name, and follows her character as she finds companionship with Pat Solitano Jr., played by Bradley Cooper, a man with bipolar disorder. 65-66 Lawrence was drawn to her character's complex personality, explaining, "She was just kind of this mysterious enigma to me because she didn't really fit any basic kind of character profile. Somebody who is very forceful and bullheaded is normally very insecure, but she isn't." 67 While Russell initially found her too young for the part, she convinced him to cast her via a Skype audition. 55 She found herself challenged by Russell's spontaneity as a director, and described working on the project as the best experience of her life. 55 Richard Corliss of Time magazine wrote, "Just 21 when the movie was shot, Lawrence is that rare young actress who is, grown up. Sullen and sultry, she lends a mature intelligence to any role." 68 Peter Travers called her some kind of miracle. "She's rude, dirty, funny, foul-mouthed, sloppy, sexy, vibrant, and vulnerable, sometimes all in the same scene, even in the same breath." 69 Lawrence won the Golden Globe, SAG Award, and the Academy Award for Best Actress, becoming at age 22 the second youngest Best Actress Oscar winner. 70 Her final film of the year was alongside Max Theriot and Elizabeth Shue in Mark Tonderei's critically panned thriller House at the End of the Street. 71 In January 2013, she hosted an episode of the NBC late-night sketch comedy Saturday Night Live. 72 The Devil You Know, a small-scale production that Lawrence had filmed for in 2005, was her first release of 2013. 73 She then reprised the role of Everdeen in The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, the second installment in the Hunger Games series. 74 While performing the film's underwater stunts, Lawrence suffered from an ear infection that resulted in a brief loss of hearing. 58 Writing for The Village Voice, Stephanie Zacharek believed that the actress' portrayal of Everdeen made her an ideal role model, stating that there's no sanctimony or pretense of false modesty in the way Lawrence plays her. 75 With box office earnings of $865 million, Catching Fire remains her highest-grossing film. 54 In the same year, Lawrence took on a supporting role in David O. Russell's ensemble black comedy Crime American Hustle as Rosalind Rosenfeld, the neurotic wife of conman Irving Rosenfeld, played by Christian Bale. Inspired by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI's Abscom sting operation, the film is set against the backdrop of political corruption in 1970s New Jersey. 76-77 She did little research for the role, and based her performance on knowledge of the era from films and television shows she had watched. 64 Jeffrey McNabb of The Independent found Lawrence to be brilliant, funny, and acerbic in her part, and highlighted an improvised scene in which she aggressively kisses her husband's mistress, played by Amy Adams, on the lips. 76 For her performance, she won the Golden Globe and BAFTA Award for Best Supporting Actress, and received her third Screen Actors Guild Award and Academy Award nominations, her first in the supporting category. This made her the youngest actor to accrue 3 Oscar nominations. 78-79 Lawrence promoting The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 2 at the 2015 San Diego Comic-Con. Lawrence played Serena Pemberton in Suzanne Bier's Depression-era drama Serena, 2014, based on the novel of the same name by Ron Rash. In the film, she and her husband George, played by Bradley Cooper, become involved in criminal activities after realizing that they cannot bear children. 80 The project was filmed in 2012, and was released in 2014 to poor reviews. 81-82 Lawrence then reprised the role of Mystique in X-Men, Days of Future Past, which served as a sequel to both X-Men, The Last Stand, 2006, and X-Men, First Class, 2011. The film received positive reviews and grossed $748.1 million worldwide, becoming the highest-grossing film in the X-Men series to that point. 83-84 Justin Chong of Variety praised her look in the film but thought she had little to do but glower, snarl, and let the F/X artists do their thing. 85 Lawrence's next 2 releases were the final installments of the Hunger Games film series, Mockingjay Part 1, 2014, and Part 2, 2015. 86 for the soundtrack of the former film. She recorded the song The Hanging Tree, 87, which charted on multiple international singles charts. 88 while filming a scene in a tunnel for Part 2, a fog machine malfunctioned and released an excessive amount of fog, nearly suffocating Lawrence. She was carried out by a rescue crew. 89 in a review of the final installment in the series, Manala Dargis of the New York Times drew similarities between Everdean's journey as a rebel leader and Lawrence's rise to stardom, stating that the actress now inhabits the role as effortlessly as breathing, partly because, like all great stars, she seems to be playing a version of her real self. 90 both films grossed over $650 million worldwide. 54. Lawrence worked with David O. Russell for the third time on the biopic Joy, 2015, in which she played the eponymous character, a troubled single mother who becomes a successful businesswoman after inventing the miracle mop. 91 During production in Boston, the press reported on a disagreement between Lawrence and Russell that resulted in a screaming match. She said their friendship made it easier for them to disagree, because people fight when they really love each other. 92 The film was not as well received as their previous collaborations, but Lawrence's performance was unanimously praised. 93 Critic Richard Roper found it to be her best work since Winter's Bone, terming it a wonderfully layered performance that carries the film through its rough spots and sometimes dubious detours. 94 She won her third Golden Globe for it, and was nominated for another Academy Award for Best Actress, becoming the youngest actor in history to accrue 4 Oscar nominations. 95. 2016-2023, Fluctuations in Expansion. Lawrence promoting Red Sparrow in 2018. Lawrence began 2016 by providing the narration for A Beautiful Planet, a documentary film that explores Earth from the International Space Station. 96 She played Mystique for the third time in X-Men, Apocalypse, 2016. The film received mixed reviews, with a consensus that it was overfilled with action that detracted from the story's themes and the cast's performances. 97 Helen O'Hara of Empire deemed it a letdown from the previous installments of the series and criticized Lawrence for making her character too grim. 98 Despite this, she was awarded Favorite Movie Actress at the 43rd People's Choice Awards. 99 Lawrence was paid $20 million to star in the science fiction romance Passengers, 2016, and received top billing over CO star Chris Pratt. 100 The film featured Pratt and Lawrence as two individuals who wake up 90 years too soon from an induced hibernation on a spaceship bound for a new planet. She felt nervous performing her first sex scene and kissing a married man, Pratt, on screen. She drank alcohol to prepare herself for filming those scenes. 101 Passengers was met with underwhelming reviews, much to the surprise of its cast and crew, but Lawrence initially defended the film by calling it a tainted, complicated love story. 102-103 She later expressed regret over starring in the film. 1. Darren Aronofsky's psychological horror film Mother was Lawrence's sole release of 2017. She played a young wife who experiences trauma when her home is invaded by unexpected guests. Lawrence spent 3 months rehearsing the film in a warehouse in Brooklyn, despite her reluctance to rehearsals in her previous assignments. 104 The intense role proved grueling for her. She was put on supplemental oxygen when she hyperventilated one day, and also dislocated a rib. 104 Mother polarized audiences and prompted mass walkouts. 105 The film was better received by critics. 106 Walter Adiego of the San Francisco Chronicle labeled it assaultive and a deliberate test of audience endurance, and credited Lawrence for never allowing herself to be reduced simply to a howling victim. 107. The following year, she starred as Dominika Igorova, a Russian spy who makes contact with a mysterious Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, agent, played by Joel Edgerton, in Francis Lawrence's espionage thriller Red Sparrow, based on Jason Matthews' novel of the same name. 108 In preparation for the part, she learned to speak in a Russian accent and trained in ballet for 4 months. 109 Having been the victim of a nude photo hack, the actress found herself challenged by the sexuality in her role but said that performing the nude scenes made her feel empowered. 110 Eric Cohn of IndieWire disliked the film's denouement, but praised the performances of Lawrence and Charlotte Rampling, remarking that the considerable talent on display is the film's constant saving grace. 111 In 2019, Lawrence made her fourth and final appearance as Mystique, in the superhero film Dark Phoenix, which emerged as a critical and box office failure. 112-113. Lawrence at the 2022 Toronto International Film Festival. Following roles in a series of mixed-reviewed films, Lawrence took a small break from acting. She felt unsatisfied with her films, wanted to avoid media scrutiny, and focused on domestic activities during this period. Wanting to work with director Adam McKay since she was 19, Lawrence returned in 2021 in his Netflix film Don't Look Up for a reported fee of $25 million. 114 A slapstick apocalypse. The film had her and co-star Leonardo DiCaprio play two astronomers attempting to warn humanity about an extinction-level asteroid. 115 For the role, Lawrence received a red dye job and an undercut. In an interview with Vogue, she said that she extensively researched the typical look of aspiring astrophysicists. 116 reviews for the film were mixed, but critics mostly praised the performances of Lawrence and DiCaprio. 117 who were described as powerhouse by Ian Sandwell of Digital Spy and a delight to watch by Sybil Chatterjee of NDTV. 119 Lawrence earned a 5th Golden Globe nomination for the film. 120 It broke the record for the most views, 152 million hours in a single week in Netflix history, and ranks as the platform's second most watched film within 28 days of release. 122 Lawrence starred in Lila Neugebauer's independent drama Causeway, 2022, playing a soldier suffering from a brain injury. 123 She also produced the film under her company, Excellent Cadaver, which she had formed in 2018. 124 After starring in several big-budget films, she was drawn to the slow melody of a character-driven story. 125 Comparing it to her work in Winter's Bone, Alison Wilmore of Vulture opined that the film is a welcome reminder of how compelling Lawrence can be, as well as a promising indication that she's willing to seek out smaller projects and work with emerging directors. 126 Under Excellent Cadaver, Lawrence produced Bread and Roses, 2023, a documentary film from director Sarah Mani about Afghan women under Taliban rule. 127 Keen to work in a comedy, Lawrence accepted her friend Gene Stupnitsky's offer to star in his sex comedy No Hard Feelings, 2023, which she also produced. 128 She played a young woman facing bankruptcy who accepts a Craigslist posting from wealthy parents to date their introverted 19-year-old son, played by Andrew Barth Feldman. Reviewers had favorable opinions on the film and appreciated Lawrence's comic timing. 129 She received another Golden Globe nomination for her performance. 130 2024 Present, Critical Resurgence. After executive producing the documentaries Urazowski v. Texas, 2024, Lawrence next produced and starred in Die, My Love, 2025, a thriller directed by Lynn Ramsey, which premiered at the Cannes Film Festival. 131 132 133 For her performance as a single mother experiencing mental health issues following the end of her marriage, Lawrence garnered acclaim from critics, some of whom declared that this was a return to form for the actress. 134 Tim Grierson of Screen International considered Lawrence to be the match that lights Lynn Ramsey's gripping, slow burn fifth feature, and praised her ability to give a volcanic performance that is nonetheless very controlled, avoiding melodramatic theatrics. 135 Artistry and Public Image. In 2012, the review website IndieWire described Lawrence's off-screen persona as down-to-earth, self-deprecating, unaffected. 136 Adam McKay, who directed Lawrence in Don't Look Up, considered her a strong, funny truth-teller. No one has more beautiful anger than Jen, McKay said. When she unleashes, it is a sight to behold. 114 An IGN writer described her as a sharp, funny, and quirky actress who liked to stay grounded despite her considerable success. 137 Lawrence has said she finds acting stupid in comparison to life-saving professions like doctors, and therefore does not believe in being cocky about her accomplishments. 138 Lawrence in 2014. In 2012, Rolling Stone called Lawrence the most talented young actress in America. 6 Her The Hunger Games CO star Donald Sutherland found her an exquisite and brilliant actor and favorably compared her craft to that of Laurence Olivier. 139 David O. Russell, who directed Lawrence in Silver Linings Playbook, American Hustle, and Joy, has said that her acting is effortless and she makes it look easy. 140 She has played roles in both high-profile, mainstream productions and low-budget independent films, and appeared in a range of film genres. 137 Lawrence did not study acting and has not been involved in professional theater. 14 She bases her acting approach on her observations of people around her. 141 Lawrence said in 2010 that she did not invest any of my real emotions or take home any of her character's pain. She went on to say that I don't even take it to craft services and has never shared her character's experiences, relying instead on her imagination. I can't go around looking for roles that are exactly like my life. Lawrence also added if it ever came down to the point where, to make a part better, I had to lose a little bit of my sanity, I wouldn't do it. I would just do comedies. 14. Lawrence has become one of the world's highest paid actresses. The Daily Telegraph reported in 2014 that she was earning $10 million per film. 142 In 2013, Time magazine named her one of the 100 most influential people in the world. 143 Elle labeled her the most powerful woman in the entertainment business. 144 And Forbes ranked her as the second most powerful actress, behind only Angelina Jolie. 145 In 2014, Forbes listed Lawrence as the second highest paid actress in the world with earnings of $34,146 and named her as the most powerful actress, ranking at number 12 on the magazine's Celebrity 100 list. She appeared on the list again in 2015 and 2016. 147, 148, 149. In 2015, Lawrence was named Entertainer of the Year by Entertainment Weekly, a title she also won in 2012. 150, 151, and was recognized as the highest-grossing action heroine in Guinness World Records for starring in the Hunger Games series. 152. In 2015 and 2016, Forbes ranked her as the world's highest-paid actress, with annual earnings of $52 million and $46 million, respectively. 153. In the following 2 years, it ranked her as the world's third and fourth highest-paid actress, with respective earnings of $24 million and $18 million. 154, 155. The Hollywood Reporter listed Lawrence among the 100 most powerful people in entertainment from 2016 to 2018. 156. As of 2019, her films have grossed over $6 billion worldwide. 54. Lawrence appeared on Victoria's Secret's listing of the sexiest up-and-coming bombshell in 2011. 157 People's Most Beautiful People in 2011 and 2013. 158 Maxim's Hot 100 from 2011 to 2014. 159 and was placed at number 1 on FHM's 100 Sexiest Women list in 2014. 160 From 2013 to 2015, she was featured on Glamour's annual listing of the best-dressed women, topping the list in 2014. 161 During R.A.F. Simons's tenure at Dior. 162 Lawrence became a celebrity ambassador for the brand, appearing in advertisement campaigns for its fashion and perfumes. She frequently wears Dior to red carpet events such as film premieres and award ceremonies. She wore a custom Dior bridal gown on her wedding day. 163 Other ventures. Lawrence at Tulane University in 2018. Lawrence identifies as a feminist, a concept she argues should not intimidate people because it just means equality. 164 She has promoted body positivity among women. 165 In 2015, she wrote an essay for Lenny Letter criticizing the gender pay gap in Hollywood, describing her own experiences in the industry, such as the lesser pay she received for her work on American Hustle in comparison to her male CO stars. 166 In a 2015 interview with Vogue, she condemned Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis for her opposition to same-sex marriage. 92 Lawrence was raised a Republican and voted for John McCain in the 2008 presidential election but has since been critical of the party. 167 Lawrence strongly opposed Donald Trump's presidency, stating in 2015 that his election would be the end of the world. 168 She endorsed Joe Biden in the 2020 presidential election. 169 Lawrence joined the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences in 2011. 170 She has lent her support to several charitable organizations, such as the World Food Program, Feeding America, and the Thirst Project. 137 Along with her the Hunger Games CO stars Josh Hutcherson and Liam Hemsworth, she partnered with the United Nations to publicize poverty and hunger. 171 She organized an early screening of the Hunger Games, Catching Fire, 2013, to benefit St. Mary's Center, a disabilities organization in Louisville, and raised more than $40,000 for the cause. 172 She partnered with the charity broadcast network Chidio to raise funds for the 2015 Special Olympics World Summer Games by screening her film Serena, 2014. 173 She also collaborated with Omaze to host a fundraising contest for the Games as part of the premiere of The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1, 2014. 174 In 2015, Lawrence teamed with Hutcherson and Hemsworth for Prank at FWD, a charitable initiative to raise money for the non-profit organization Dosomething. 175 That year, she also launched the Jennifer Lawrence Foundation, which supports charities such as the Boys and Girls Clubs of America and the Special Olympics. 176 In 2016, she donated $2 million to the Corsair Children's Hospital in Louisville to set up a cardiac intensive care unit named after her foundation. 177 She is a board member of Represent Us, a nonprofit seeking to pass anti-corruption laws in the United States. 178 179 180 In 2018, she collaborated with 300 women in Hollywood to set up the Time's Up initiative to protect women from harassment and discrimination. 181 and took part in the 2018 Women's March in Los Angeles. 182 In 2018, Lawrence spoke out in support of retaining ranked choice voting in Maine. 183 Personal life. After growing up in a strictly conservative and Republican family, even voting for John McCain in 2008, Lawrence became a Democrat after hearing a joke on 30 Rock. 184 185 Furthermore, after her Christian upbringing, she would call herself not religious in 2017. However, Lawrence also mentioned occasionally praying out of habit and once when fearing for her life. She additionally rejected the label of atheist. 186 During filming of X-Men: First Class in 2010, Lawrence began dating her CO star Nicholas Hoult. Their relationship ended around the time they wrapped filming X-Men, Days of Future Past, in August 2014. 188 Lawrence was one of the victims of the 2014 celebrity nude photo leak, in which several private nude pictures of her were hacked and posted online. 189 She emphasized that the photos were never meant to go public, calling the leak a sex crime and a sexual violation, and added that viewers of the images should be ashamed of themselves for perpetuating a sexual offense. 190 Lawrence further said her pictures had been intended for Hoult during their relationship, and that unlike other victims of the incident, she did not plan to sue Apple Inc. 187. While in her 20s, Lawrence became pregnant. She planned to have an abortion but instead miscarried while in Montreal. 191 In September 2016, she began dating filmmaker Darren Aronofsky after they had met during filming of Mother. 192 They broke up in November 2017. 193 In 2018, she began a relationship with Cook Maroney, an art gallery director, after being introduced by actress Laura Simpson. They became engaged in February 2019. 194 195 196 Lawrence and Maroney were married on October 19, 2019, at the Belcourt of Newport Mansion in Rhode Island. 197 194 As of May 2019, they reside in the Lower Manhattan area of New York City and Beverly Hills, California. 198 While filming Don't Look Up, Lawrence suffered a second miscarriage and needed a dilation and curettage procedure. 199 In February 2022, Lawrence gave birth to their son, Cy, named after American artist Cy Twombly. 125 194 Their second child was born in March 2025. 200. Lawrence is a supporter of the LGBTQ and community. During a speech at the 2024 GLAAD Media Awards, she voiced her support for the community, adding that her first love was gay. Lawrence mentioned, "I tried to convert him for years, but now I know conversion therapy doesn't work." 201 Lawrence also supports abortion rights. 202 She showed her support by attending the Rally for Abortion Justice in Washington, D.C. in 2021 while pregnant. Attending alongside Amy Schumer, Lawrence held a sign that read, "Women can't be free if they don't control their bodies." X-Men, Apocalypse is a 2016 American superhero film directed and produced by Bryan Singer from a screenplay by Simon Kinberg, based on a story by Singer, Kinberg, Michael Dougherty, and Dan Harris. The film is based on the fictional X-Men characters that appear in Marvel Comics. It is the sixth mainline installment in the X-Men film series and the ninth installment overall. It is the sequel to X-Men, Days of Future Past, 2014, and stars James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Oscar Isaac, Nicholas Hoult, Rose Byrne, Tye Sheridan, Sophie Turner, Olivia Munn, and Lucas Till. In the film, the ancient mutant and Fassbender/Apocalypse is inadvertently revived in 1983 and plans to recreate the world in his own image, leading the X-Men to try to stop him and defeat his team of mutants. The film was announced by Singer in December 2013, with Kinberg, Dougherty, and Harris attached to develop the story. Casting began in October 2014, while principal photography commenced in April 2015 in Montreal and ended in August of the same year. X-Men, Apocalypse premiered in London on May 9, 2016, and was released in the United States on May 27, 2016, in RealD 3D, IMAX 3D, 4DX and Dolby Cinema formats by 20th Century Fox. The film received mixed reviews from critics. A sequel, titled Dark Phoenix, was released on June 7, 2019. Plot. In 3600 BC, the aged but powerful mutant Fassbender rules ancient Egypt. Following a ceremony in which his consciousness is transferred into another man's body in order to gain his healing factor, he and his 4 followers, the Horsemen of Apocalypse, are betrayed by conspirators. In the process, his followers are killed and he is entombed alive. In 1983, Scott Summers manifests his mutant powers to shoot concussive kinetic energy blasts from his eyes, so his older brother Alex takes him to Professor Charles Xavier's Educational Institute, hoping that Xavier and Hank McCoy will teach him to control his mutation. Scott meets and befriends Jean Grey upon arriving. In Egypt, Fassbender is awakened by Moira MacTaggart while following a group of worshippers. He meets a mutant who can control weather, Aurora Monroe, and learns about humanity. Determined that humanity has lost its way, he plans to remake the world. Aurora becomes his follower after he enhances her power. Meanwhile, in communist Poland, Eric Lane Scher lives happily with his wife Magda and daughter Nina. During the worldwide disturbances caused by Fassbender's reawakening, Lane Scher uses his powers to save a co-worker during an earthquake, alerting the Militkia Obi-Wadowska. They hold his daughter hostage in the forest to lure him into turning himself in. As tensions rise, Nina heartbrokenly demonstrates her animal communication mutant powers, and the police accidentally kill her and her mother in the ensuing confusion. In despair, Lane Scher kills the police. In East Berlin, shape-shifting mutant Raven, revered as a mutant hero following the attack on Washington, D.C., rescues Kurt Wagner from a cage fight and requests black marketeer Caliban to transport Kurt to America. He reveals Lane Sher's situation to her, leading Raven to take Kurt and requests Xavier to find and rescue Lane Sher. Fassbender recruits Caliban's assistant Psylocke and another cage fighter Angel, and enhances both of their powers. Fassbender finds Lane Sher and takes him back to Auschwitz, showing him the true extent of his powers. Lane Sher destroys the camp and joins Fassbender. When Xavier contacts Lane Sher, Fassbender remotely accesses Cerebro and forces Xavier to make countries launch their nuclear arsenals into space to prevent interference. He and his 4 horsemen arrive at the mansion and kidnap Xavier. Alex attempts to stop them but causes an explosion that destroys the mansion. Peter Maximoff, having learned he is Lane Sher's biological son, arrives and uses his super speed to evacuate everyone except Alex, who is considered missing in action in the explosion before his arrival. Colonel William Stryker's forces, believing Xavier to be responsible, capture McCoy, Raven, Peter, and MacTaggart, and take them for interrogation. Scott, Jean, and Kurt secretly follow them and liberate their comrades using Stryker's experiment Weapon X, whose memories Jean partially restores. Lane Sher uses his powers to alter the Earth's magnetic field, causing destruction across the planet. Fassbender plans to transfer his consciousness into Xavier's body to gain his psychic powers. Xavier sends a telepathic distress call to Jean and the others, who travel to Cairo to battle Fassbender and his 4 horsemen. They rescue Xavier and flee in a plane. When Angel and Psylocke attack the plane, Kurt teleports his friends away. Psylocke manages to jump safely and escape, but Angel is killed in the plane crash. Lane Sher and Ororo turn on Fassbender and keep him occupied physically with Scott's help while Xavier fights him telepathically in the astral plane. Xavier begs Jean to unleash the full strength of her abilities, and she incinerates Fassbender. Xavier restores MacTaggart's memory and they reconcile. Lane Sher and Jean help reconstruct the school, but Lane Sher turns down Xavier's offer to stay and help teach. Peter decides not to tell Lane Sher yet about their relationship. Using confiscated Sentinels 5, McCoy and Raven train the new X-Men recruits, Scott, Jean, Ororo, Kurt, and Peter. In a post-credits scene, vials of Weapon X's blood are placed in a briefcase belonging to the Essex Corporation. Cast. The cast of X-Men, Apocalypse at the 2015 San Diego Comic-Con. From top to bottom, McAvoy, Fassbender, Lawrence, Isaac, Hoult, Munn, Peters, Smith-McPhee, Turner, Sheridan, Shipp, Condor, Till, and Hardy. James McAvoy as Professor Charles Xavier. A pacifistic mutant and the world's most powerful telepath, who is the founder of Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters and leads the team of mutants known as the X-Men, in order to protect humankind and battle against the deadly enemy within. During the latter part of the film's production, McAvoy shaved his head for the role. 6. Michael Fassbender as Eric Lane Sher / Magneto. A mutant Auschwitz survivor with the ability to control magnetic fields and manipulate metal, who was once Xavier's closest ally and best friend, until his belief that mankind and mutant kind would never coexist led to their separation. He is globally infamous for attempting to assassinate U.S. President Richard Nixon on live broadcast 10 years prior. Bill Milner appears in archival footage as a young Eric. Jennifer Lawrence as Raven / Mystique. A mutant with shape-shifting abilities, globally renowned for saving Nixon's life 10 years prior. She was once Xavier's closest ally and his adoptive sister. Lawrence said, she hears about what happened to Eric and she wants to seek him out and help him. 7. Nicholas Hoult as Hank McCoy / Beast. A mutant with leonine attributes, prehensile feet, and superhuman physical abilities. Hank acts as a teacher in Xavier's school and he builds inventions for troubled students. He also built the X-Jet. 8. Oscar Isaac as Fassbender / Apocalypse. Born in ancient times, and presumably the world's first mutant, he has a variety of destructive superhuman abilities, including telekinesis, telepathy, technopathy, teleportation, force field generation, and the ability to augment other mutants' abilities, as a result of being able to amass powers when transferring his consciousness from one body to another. Isaac described Nur as the creative / destructive force of the Earth. He added, when things start to go awry, or when things seem like they're not moving towards evolution, Fassbender destroys those civilizations. 7. Isaac had to go through extensive makeup and prosthetics applications, and wore high-heeled boots to appear taller in a 40-pound suit. The full costume was uncomfortable, particularly in the humid environment of the outdoor scenes, which forced Isaac to go to a cooling tent between takes. Nur's previous old form, seen at the beginning of the film, was played by Bert J. Garabedian, a 70-year-old Canadian real estate agent, an avid silver screen fan in his first credited film role. 9. Rose Byrne as Moira MacTaggart. A CIA operative who first met and developed feelings for Xavier in X-Men, First Class, 2011, where he wiped portions of her memories of him and the X-Men at the end. Simon Kinberg said they are essentially strangers when they meet in this film. 10. Evan Peters as Peter Maximoff / Quicksilver. A mutant who can move, think, and perceive at hypersonic speeds, and the son of Magneto. 11. Josh Hellman as Colonel William Stryker. A military officer who hates mutants and has, in the 10 years since Days of Future Past, been developing his own plans for resolving the mutant problem. 8. Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. A mutant who is scared of her telepathic and telekinetic power, and one of Charles Xavier's most prized students. 12. Turner states that she was cast in the film because of the dark side of her character Sansa Stark in Game of Thrones, 2011 to 2019. She compared Jean to Sansa and described being an outcast in the human world who struggles with her power and gift, the same way Sansa, who wanted to live a normal life, felt. 13. Turner learned archery in preparation for the role. 14. Tye Sheridan as Scott Summers / Cyclops. A mutant who fires destructive optic beams and wears a ruby visor or sunglasses to stabilize and contain them, and who is the younger brother of Havoc. Sheridan described Cyclops as angry and a bit lost. He added, he's now learning about being a mutant and trying to handle his powers. 15. Lucas Till as Alex Summers / Havoc. A mutant who has the ability to absorb energy and release it with destructive force from his body, and the older brother of Cyclops. Cody Smith McPhee as Kurt Wagner / Nightcrawler. 16. A German 12 teleporting mutant and one of Charles Xavier's new students. Singer said Nightcrawler is a source of comic relief. 17. Ben Hardy as Angel. A mutant with bird-like feathered wings who gains metallic wings that can shoot razor-sharp feather projectiles, similar to his Archangel counterpart in the comics. 18. Hardy practiced indoor skydiving in preparation for his role. 19. Alexandra Shipp as Aurora Monroe / Storm. A young mutant orphan who can control weather. Storm is discovered by Apocalypse in Cairo. Shipp partially shaved her head to sport a mohawk for the role. 2021. Lana Condor as Jubilee. A mutant student at Charles's school who has the ability to create kinetic energy plasmoids. 12/22. Discussing her first day on X-Men, Apocalypse, Condor stated, I was very new and it was my first role. I'd never been on a set before or in front of a camera, so I didn't know what to expect. The first day we shot scenes in an 80s themed mall with hundreds of extras in 80s gear, plus crew and cameras. It was surreal. It's a lot easier when you have the costume, as that helps bring everything to life. She has her iconic yellow jacket, which is a staple. It's very bold and confident, like her. A lot of her costumes are super 80s. I also listened to music from the 80s and that helped. 23. Olivia Munn as Psylocke. A mutant with Shinik abilities. Her abilities include projecting purple psychic energy, usually into the form of an energy blade that can burn through metal. Munn described Psylocke as very lethal, very powerful, and very strong. 24. She practiced sword fighting in preparation for the role. 25. Additionally, Carolina Barchak and T.J. McGibbon play Eric's wife Magda and mutant daughter Nina, respectively. Tomas Lamarquise portrays Caliban 26, a mutant with the ability to sense and track other mutants, and wrestler giant Gustav Claude Wimet plays the Blob, Angel's opponent in an underground fight club. 27/28. Monique Ganderton, Warren Squirrer, Rochelle Okoye, and Fraser Aitchison play Apocalypse's prior lieutenants, Death, Pestilence, Famine, and War respectively. Zero Leverman reprised her role as Quicksilver's mother, Ms. Maximoff. 29. Hugh Jackman makes an uncredited appearance as Logan/Wolverine, in his Weapon X form. In that same scene, director Bryan Singer cameos as a guard who is killed by Wolverine as he attempts to escape the complex. 30. X-Men CO creator Stan Lee and his wife Joan B. Lee make a cameo appearance together, as bystanders witnessing the launch of nuclear missiles worldwide. This was Joan's last film before her death the following year. 31. Eljako Ivanek cameos as a Pentagon scientist. 32. Journalist Jessica Savage and actors Leslie Parrish and Michael Forrest, appearing in footage with dialogue from the 1967 Star Trek episode Who Mourns for Adonais, also appear in cameos. 33. Production. Development. X-Men, Apocalypse was announced by Bryan Singer in December 2013 via Twitter, before X-Men, Days of Future Past, 2014, was released to theaters. 34. In the same month, Simon Kinberg, Dan Harris, and Michael Dougherty were revealed by Singer to be attached to work on the film's story. 35. According to Singer, the film would focus on the origin of the mutants and feature the younger versions of Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Storm. 36-37. Singer also said that he was considering Gambit and a younger version of Nightcrawler to appear. 38. According to Kinberg, it would take place in 1983, and completes a trilogy that began with X-Men, First Class, 2011. 39-40. In September 2014, 20th Century Fox officially announced that Singer would direct the film. 41. Singer has called the film kind of a conclusion of 6 X-Men films, yet a potential rebirth of younger, newer characters and the true birth of the X-Men. 42. Writing. It will address historical mutant psi, meaning the deep past, mutant origins, and things like that. It's something that's always intrigued me when we think about our gods and our history and miracles and powers. Bryan Singer on what will be seen in X-Men, Apocalypse. 36. Singer said that Apocalypse is the main focus of the film. Kinberg said that the younger versions of Scott Summers, Storm, and Jean Grey appearing in the film are as much a part of the film as the main cast. He described Summers as not yet the squeaky clean leader, Storm as a troubled character who is going down the wrong path in life, and Grey as complex, interesting, and not fully mature. 43. Kinberg also said that the film delivers on the dramatic story and emotion of the last two films and that it acts like the culmination of the main characters portrayed by Lawrence, McAvoy, Fassbender, and Hoult. 44. Kinberg said First Class, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse formed a trilogy about Mystique, explaining. She starts in First Class entirely on Charles's side, ends up following Eric, and we then find her in Days of Future Past and she's on her own because Eric is gone. She's on her own side in that movie but is drawn toward Charles by the end of the film and shoots Eric. Then in Apocalypse she comes back to Charles. There's a full circle narrative over the span of this little trilogy that is about Mystique from beginning with Charles in the mansion and ending with Charles in the mansion, but not as the same timid little girl we met in First Class. 45. Kinberg was paid $8 million for writing the script, the same amount he received for X-Men, Days of Future Past. 46. The plot was partially inspired by the 1988 X-Men story arc The Fall of the Mutants. 47. Casting. In October 2014, casting for X-Men, Apocalypse began. 48. In November, Singer confirmed that Oscar Isaac would portray Apocalypse. 49. In January 2015, Singer announced that Alexandra Shipp, Sophie Turner, and Tye Sheridan would portray young Storm, Jean and Cyclops, respectively. 50. Grace Fulton, who would go to play Mary Bromfield in the DC Extended Universe Shazam films, originally auditioned to play Jean Grey, but lost out to Turner. Ashley Benson was also considered for Jean Grey. 51-52. The same month, Kinberg confirmed that Rose Byrne would reprise her First Class role as Moira MacTaggart in the film. 10. In February, Cody Smith-McPhee was cast as Nightcrawler and Ben Hardy was cast in an unspecified role. 16:53. In March, Singer announced that Lana Condor was cast as Jubilation Lee. 54. In April, Singer confirmed that Hardy would portray Angel, Olivia Munn would portray Psylocke, and Lucas Till would return as Havoc. 18:55-56. In May, Singer announced that the mutant Caliban would appear in the film. 57-58. In July, Hoult revealed on Conan that Josh Hellman would return as William Stryker. 59. In April 2016, Hugh Jackman confirmed that he would make a cameo appearance as Logan/Wolverine. 60. Filming. Principal photography commenced on April 27, 2015, in Montreal, Canada. 61. In late August, the first unit production for the film wrapped. 62. Additional filming took place in January 2016. 63. Australia-based Rising Sun Pictures provided, as it did for X-Men, Days of Future Past, the effects for Quicksilver's time-stopping, quick motion effects in the mansion rescue scene, and also other effects, including when Cyclops splits Professor X's favorite tree in half. 64. Aerial footage of snow-capped mountains as Stryker traveled in his helicopter to the secret base was provided by Smart Drones of St. Albert, Alberta, Canada. 65. Singer had at